Hello and welcome to Conversations with an Investor. This week we've got a returning superstar guest, Big Mike. He is in to cover all, two birds with one stone. We put a poll out recently, what was the topic you wanted next? And the top two were tattoos and number one was conspiracy theory. So we've got the big tattoo guy going into conspiracy theories with me. We go everywhere. No holes barred as usual. You know the setup. There is nothing off the table. We took all the questions from the polls tonight and we went through them. If we didn't cover it off, let us know. If you want something that we haven't mentioned, hook us up. But this episode, we are going to go deep. So let's get stuck right in. So the poll was second place was tattoo and first place was conspiracy theory.
Standard.
I think we've got it in the bag.
Fucking right.
It says you've got the tattoos and I have the list of conspiracy theories that people have went to.
I don't like this term conspiracy theories, lad, because ultimately it's half the time it's the fucking truth.
Well, here's the thing. I'd messaged one of the guys that put in a comment earlier on.
Aye.
And it was we were talking about all the different conspiracy theories. And I says, I actually remember when a conspiracy theory had a long period of time before it came out.
Now it's rapid.
Like, now it's about 12 minutes.
Aye, that's it. Aye, you'll hear it and then, oh, fuck, it's real. And Jesus, fuck.
I'm going to say there's never been more interaction. So what a topic.
Do you not think as well now there's like no effort to disguise the conspiracy theory anymore? They just do it in plain sight and it just is what it is now. You either see it or you don't. And then you'll see it clear as day. Like, you've just done that. No, we didn't. Mm-hmm. And then there's just not really any any effort now to hide it. Oh, no, you're just crazy.
But it's like, I reckon what's happened is people used to give the benefit of the doubt. People believed, right, look, it can't be that. It can't be this. You know, when a UFO was spotted, a blatant flying object, it's swamp gas and all that stuff. It's a weather balloon. And you're going, it's a rotating metallic disc that's got a glowing orb around it.
That's like fucking doing 90 degree fucking changes.
It's going Mach 15 and doing a right angle turn. What do you mean it's swamp gas?
I guess
but people would go, look, it's easier to believe that it's swamp gas than it's...
The problem is now as well, though, with mobile phones, like there was a hang in America the other month, and like, maybe one or two or three. But see when there's like 150 mobile phone recordings of this Raj hanging in the sky, at what point, like, and generally, like if one person's saying something, then fair enough. But if there's an absolute massive squad of people who don't know each other, all on their mobile phones being like, nah, I've got this fucking thing. Okay, and at what point you're like, all right, there's maybe something here. I can't even remember what it was. There was some fucking Raj hang, not quite Independence, fucking mothership coming through the clouds, but
there's been a few cases of them. There's been a few cases where
there was some Raj shit. Like one of the ones was this fucking, you couldn't really see what the crack was, but you could see like landing like type fucking things, and the span on it was fucking enormous, huge.
There was one over Phoenix called the Phoenix Lights. It was the 5 balls in the sky, and it was 1996, like around that time. And that was recorded for several different points in the sky, visible.
And that's the point where noise. CGI wasn't that great as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and the thing being is that this was only backing up the witness reports. It wasn't that the footage was the be all and end all. You had an entire city that was like, here, we've seen this object in the sky. And you had people that, not the typical thing is that they have people in good standing. So in the UFOs now, you've got pilots that are coming out and saying, look, this is what we've seen. You've got astronauts that have said, hey, look, this is what we've seen. You've got the guys in the Air Force that have said, look, we've tracked and chased these things down. We've tried to shoot them out the sky.
Well, see that one in particular, Ken, because they're like contacting each other. Is this you? And you get the radio recordings as well. You can actually listen to the Air Force and the Navy. Is this you? Like, nah, we thought it might be you. Nah, it's not fucking us. Okay, NASA on the blower. Is this you? No, us. Fuck is it then?
Yeah. But an interesting one is I followed Bob Lazar. I was right into Bob Lazar when Bob Lazar was the outcast. Like people were like, shot his credibility down. The guys, you had to put aside the character assassination that was put on him. And I remember thinking this is a fascinating story. It was something about the way he came across. I thought, I don't buy into this narrative about him. I don't think they're telling it. I don't think this seems like what they're saying about this guy being a complete lunatic, fraud, and the things that he did. I just thought, nah, it doesn't add up.
You know, I think sometimes as well now, a story can be that far-fetched that it has to be, there has to be something in it. It's that ridiculous. Where would this idea have came from? There must be something there, concrete in it, in order for Ken, because some of the shit as well, that especially how he comes out with, you couldn't just make it up off the top of your head. It's that far away for anything else that there has to be some truth in it. And then as the years go on, and more shit comes out, you're like, all right, maybe Bob wasn't full of shit.
Yeah. Well, he's been vindicated by many things.
Was he actually?
He's been vindicated. So some of the list of things that happened was he'd said that he worked on the propulsion system. So they called it the sport model. It was a 59-foot disc, and it was tested at S4. So S4 is within the Nevada test range, and most people know Area 51, but this thing was carved into the mountain. And he says, look, there was 9 of them there, and I was responsible for working on the propulsion system. It was all contained. Nobody could talk to anybody else. You had a buddy, and you had your supervisor, and that was it. And he was figuring out what this was, and he says that there was an element that was part of this propulsion system that wasn't on our periodic table. So they called it element 115. And Bob goes on to explain it defied the laws of physics.
Yeah.
So he says that these are the things that we couldn't understand, because what we know about physics, this was out with it.
Fucking cancelled it all.
Yeah, and he so that was around 89 that Bob Lazar came out with this. So it's outrageous stuff. They're flying a UFO. It's an extraterrestrial craft. It's doing incredible maneuvers. It's flying over a test range. He's got some of his pals down to witness it, to make sure that he's not just making this up. He's explained about the inside of it. He's explained all these details about the UFO. And to 1989, just think of the technology then. You didn't have CDs.
No,
right? You didn't have a CD.
Yeah, floppy disk.
Like, you go and talk to a kid, they're like, what's a CD? They didn't even have CDs back then. This is the type of technology that they had. And he came out and he says, look, it's propelled by this element, and we don't know it. So people are just like, nonsense. 2016, guess what they got in at CERN at the Hadron Collider, or the Hadron Collider, the big, steel tube.
The thing in Switzerland.
Yeah, the big propulsion tube where they can fire things around the...
Yeah, the antimatter thing, the thing.
I can't remember what it's called.
I think you're right, the particle collider.
Particle accelerator.
That's it, there you go.
It's a huge particle accelerator. And they got a very brief isotope of element 115, and it's now in the periodic table.
Boom.
And Bob Lazar knew about it in 89. And here's what he said, just on the topic of what we were discussing earlier on. So think of the period, height of the Cold War, Americans versus the Soviet Union. And Bob was like, S4, we called them the Ruskies, the Russians. They were there. So they were collaborating on, like,
it's in a partnership.
Like, what do you think this is? So they had their wherever they got the UFOs, whatever they'd found in their territory, and they were comparing notes, and they've swapped.
Oh, they had some too.
So, the Russian ones are big. There's when the fall of the KGB, there was the former officers were selling, state secrets, and one of the ones that Nick Pope investigated. So Nick Pope was the guy that worked in the Ministry of Defence on essentially the UFO desk.
Okay.
And he went in 1985 or 1984. He says he worked 26 years in the ministry, and he says, look, went in completely skeptical, didn't believe a thing. Nah, I'm just there to go and explore what the plausible reasons is. He says, and 26 years later, he's like, without a shadow of a doubt, there's 100% aliens. He says, everything he's seen, everything he recorded, everything he took in, without a doubt. And he talks about when the Western intelligence got the documentation of the can't remember if it was Spetsnaz or whatever the special forces were at the KGB. Spetsnaz divers were diving in a Russian lake, and they came across these essentially extraterrestrials that were underwater, and it scared the living daylights out of the divers.
It's fucking good, eh?
And they had, have you heard of submersible, unidentified submersible objects, a USO?
So basically an underwater UFO.
You've got a Russian submarine captain that's tracking an unidentified submersible object traveling at 230 knots underwater.
Wow.
And it's like the Russian captain,
possible.
the guy's shouting out, so you can imagine it in the submarine. Captain, you've got the guy tracking it, shouting at the speed, and the Russian captain's like, nah, it can't be right.
Because what does our shit move at? Are we in double digits with our subs?
I mean, if you can get a sub to move at 30, 40 knots, you'd be delighted. I mean, even like you've got such a drag resistance in the water that it's difficult to get something to move that fast. And you've got an object that's making turns at
10 times the
230
speed.
knots. It'll be in the ballpark of 260 miles an hour.
That's frightening.
Like airspeed.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how much force that's got to go through
for sure.
the drag of water. That's pretty.
That's fast.
That's fast.
That's very fast. That's
So
fast
that
for
was
a car.
that was one on the list. Are aliens among us?
Thing is though, as well, like even without all the stories and that, like to think we're the only intelligent life anywhere is ridiculous. Literally so stupid. It's just impossible. Even on the like skipping the flat Earth, globe Earth, fucking bollocks or that, going by what they've said as well, like how our planet and the sun and the recipe, the calculation for life, if you like. They've found multiple planets with that setup. So even just based on that alone, we're definitely if that's the reason we are things, because of the distance and this and that and blah blah blah.
And they call it the Goldilocks zone. So it's not too.
Is that what the actual term is?
It's not too warm and it's not too cold. It's just in
right.
the right zone, just the right area, the
so
right
I think
temperature.
there's like 4 or 5 planets that
It's
look
way more
like
than
this.
that. It's way more.
Well, maybe
than
now I'm going. This was
that.
back in the day. So I think it would be highly unlikely that we would be the only fucking intelligent life.
Kepler 421b is the planet that's Earth's twin, and it's Goldilocks zone.
Is this the one that's like 250 million light years away or some shit like that? Aye.
Well, Bob Lazar says in his thing that he was briefed, so he's like he states it clearly. He says, "Look, part of the intelligence is that they give you information, and some of that information might not be true, and it's very specific to you. So it means that if this information gets out,
they know
then
who
you know
it
it's
came
came for you."
That's clever.
He says, "So I don't know how much of the dossier that I read." So he's obviously getting read into what he's working on, because they're going to need to prepare him for, hey, look, there's going to be a brief, and what he's saying is the majority of this will be
push
briefing. No, it'll be bang on, but there's going to be elements of it that are essentially misinformation that are there as a trap. If he leaks it out, they know it's came from him.
That's really clever. I like
it's
that.
very, very smart. So he says that they had information of where the ships were from, and one of them was found in an archaeological dig, and it came from Zeta Reticuli, which can only be seen from the southern hemisphere, and it's, I think, 4.2 light years away.
That's pretty close.
4.2 light years away. So, like, they had information, and you go, well, how much more is there? What are they not telling you? And just look at some of the stuff that came out of the Soviet Union. A treasure trove of information, and like Nick Pope and the Western intelligence were like, you need a buyer? We're your guy. We're buying. What you're selling, we want. And they were looking to hoover up all the info, because that's the game. Like when there's a downfall of an empire.
But what are you going to do with that information, though? Because they're obviously not making it public knowledge. They're just suppressing it. So I don't.
They'll be suppressed. They want to obviously suppress it and keep it under wraps, because that's been the whole thing. Is what happens to our structures of civilization, which is you believe in a king or a government or a ruler of some kind.
Yeah, but you would still believe in that regardless if there was another fucking set of cunts kicking about.
Well,
like, my bills are still the same tomorrow if there's a fucking their planet with another bunch of fucking Homo sapiens kicking about on it. My 9 to 5's still there. Fucking change anything.
Yeah. Would you tattoo an alien?
Fucking right. Well, depending if I could. If they were all fucking like scales and armoured skin and that'd be fucking tricky, yeah. But if they were like us, I'd crack on.
Aye.
Give my fucking Japanese bodysuit.
Aye. So listen, man, you look good with a good cracking koi fish.
Ken, what would look good on you, Mr. Lizard?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you about aliens among us?
Well, we spoke about this briefly last time, mind, about Ken, Elon's definitely a candidate. What about him and the whole get yourselves to fuck? Good on him.
What do you think that's about?
Well, I ken roughly what that was about. He's just not want to be controlled by the fucking conglomerates telling him what to do and what he can and can't say. So he's like, go fuck yourselves. And now Disney, I think Disney shares are going through the fucking floor. Cunt's powerful, like. It's fucking impressive what that man can do.
Bud Light as well. Like, they've done the same thing with Bud Light and people boycotted it.
Aye.
They were like, we're not touching it. And that's the whole thing, go woke, go broke. So Disney went woke, Bud Light went woke, and you've got this ESG. You familiar with ESG? So ESG is environmental, social, and governance. So it's essentially a nice, benign sounding term for these are what we want, and you will be scored if you're doing what we want. And if you...
Oh wait, is this the concept of like awarded Ford the cleanest car company in America and all this shit? And he's like, how?
Well, I'll give you an example. This is the hypocrisy of an ESG score. So how investable you are as a company and how you're seen in the investment world or investment grade or attractive as a stock or company or business would be relative to your ESG score. This is what they tried to implement.
Oh, so this kind of like a fucking just a credit system type bollocks.
But they control what it is. So Coca-Cola had a higher ESG score. You know, your can of juice that's got 7 teaspoons full of sugar in it and it's made from coca leaves.
And they're poisoning more rivers around the world than fucking any other company.
So that has a higher ESG score than Tesla.
In all fairness though, would Tesla not have quite a high pollution record because of how batteries and all that shit are created and the mad cobalt mines and all that bollocks?
You've got to ask yourself, is if you were being sensible, Mike, it's an excellent question. But it sort of does it Skypes over the top of the ESG score as a control tool for you following our instructions. This is the thing is that
the questions don't matter.
You go to yourself, well, look, there's no way a fizzy drinks company is doing better for the environment than Tesla.
Than an electric car company.
Because what you would do is you would have a trade-off. Like Coca-Cola isn't providing a net zero or a carbon neutral or a benefit. Like the Tesla's providing vehicles that don't apparently use this fossil fuel. If you want to just look on the surface of it, you go, well,
without taking the footprint into consideration.
The footprint, how it's mined, how it's transported.
The fact that it will never actually be better than any fucking diesel or petrol car on the planet.
You need to run it for, I think you need to run it for 7 years before it becomes more environmentally friendly than a petrol or diesel equivalent. And that's excluding the fact that the battery probably lasts 4 years.
And that you can't recycle.
And you need
just bury.
You need to use a small child in Africa to go and dig a cobalt mine.
You've seen the footage of that?
Sanity.
Fucking wild, lad. Wild.
And that's the contradiction with the world. That's why I don't.
Even these things too.
And this is what I mean. We're using these phones. Everything that we use has got the stuff in it, and it's the whole thing that only in the Western world can somebody with a 400 pair pound of trainers and a 1,500 quid iPhone sit and moan on that device that they're oppressed.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the whole thing. Well, it's the hypocrisy of these people that go, we want environmentally friendliness and all this sort of stuff. It's like, well, let's have a look at your phone jack. Let's check all the plastics that are in all your clothing. Yeah. Let's what type of pipes do you have in your house? Yeah. Are they plastic? Are they copper? Where do they mine from? Do you listen,
people
Dorothy?
Are fucking blind, lad.
Do you go and live in the woods and forage your own food? No. I've got news for you. You're an eating, shitting, polluting machine. And you can use all the fancy, nice jargon. Facts are facts. But listen, we're not ramming it down everybody else's throat. You are. So you put yourself in the spotlight.
Absolutely.
So listen, you need to take the heat when you get it.
But I don't leave a light on in a room that I'm not in. Oh, you're doing so much.
Oh,
great, good for you. I recycle.
You can see Klaus Schwab just in there in Switzerland, and Basel just clapping his bald cat.
That's it.
Yes.
And it's fucking. He looks like something out of fucking Starship Troopers.
No, he looks like one of the dodgy Bond villains.
100%.
He's got that Dr. Evil look. You know, remember Austin Powers?
You ken the setup with him, who his dad was, and all that chat.
What was the story with that?
His dad was Hitler's confidant.
That's right. He was born in Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Aye. Aye, the fucking Führer and Klaus's daddy were fucking bestos.
Well, but there's one that didn't make the list, but seeing as we're on topic, we might as well open up a can of worms. What do you think of Hitler's death? Did he die? And when they said did they
from what I know,
go and get a tan in Argentina?
So from what I understand, the body that was recovered was recently DNA'd, and it's a woman. It is not a man, and it is not Hitler. So he's either burnt up to fuck in that bunker, or he wasn't there.
Well, he apparently had his mistress in there. What was her name?
Well, this is fucking
Eva Braun.
Aye, and so you can, looking at the evidence, I think it's more likely he ended up in South America and probably died of old age than, because there's no evidence that he got fucking done. If you had that guy and you had his body, I would have put it on the fucking top of the fucking highest building and be like, we fucking got him. There he is. Not wait 40 years to do a DNA test. We've been able to do that since fucking, what, the 80s, 90s? Maybe earlier than that? Why would you not rule it out then? Why wait till whenever it was, early noughties, or was it early noughties? I can't remember when that thing happened. And they're like, oh, it's a woman. And why Russia took so long to release the fucking remains as well. I didn't get that either. Okay, and so, you know, same with the Bin Laden shit. Ken done him and then threw his body off a boat apparently without verifying who it was or anything. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you've got these bad men, Ken, when they got Gaddafi and Saddam and that, Saddam was hung for a fucking lamppost and Gaddafi was dragged behind the car through the fucking streets.
But they wanted to make an example of them.
I know, I get that too, but it, like,
they didn't make an example of the other ones.
Nah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I know why that is. Ken, the bad men weren't really bad men, and the bad men that should have been Ken made an example of weren't, and the men that shouldn't have been treated the way they were treated did. Generally for the whole banking reasons and so on and so forward and that shit.
Somebody's making money. Somebody's making money from war.
Oh, that was somebody.
Somebody likes war. That was the whole thing with bankers' wars. I remember doing I'd done a presentation, and the big part of like why the people go, what would be the reason for this? You explain the bankers' wars, because if you get someone to come to you because they need money, and then they'll exchange their collateral, jewels, land, titles, whatever you want to collateralize. And if you can do that with two sides, you can fund the enemy, or you can fund both sides of the war. You can end up with all the collateral and all the stuff.
Well, there's some families in the UK that have done very well after that.
And then you go, you can actually decide the victor, because you can decide who gets money.
Yeah, fucking right. That's why these families, one of ours particularly, are basically God. They decide who live and die. What's your foot? What's on your laptop? The Rothschilds flick the switch. And imagine that position, the fucking power. Oh, we want to do this, and it's up to him or them if it's a yes or no. I'll get on board with that, or no, or even just down to the basis that obviously they fund our governments to go into conflicts, and then our governments obviously have to pay them back over however many fucking years or whatever.
It's absolute insanity. I mean, I remember what my idea of what money was and where it came from before I really learned where it came from. It was so difficult to get away from the old thought, the disbelief that I had about this can't be like this.
See, I'm on the line still where I know from what I've heard and read and you've told me about and everything like that. And then obviously I still, I'm not at a level where I still need to treat money as money, if you get me. Okay, and it's not pieces on a board for me yet. It's still what it was designed to be for, for as far as the working class go. So it's annoying because I get it, but I'm not in a position to play like that, if you get me. I've still got to, it's still just this shit that allows me to live.
Mechanism.
Yeah.
And like to a degree, we're all under that umbrella.
Well, you have to be, because you've still got bills. You still need to pay the boatman and so on and so forth.
If you want to operate in what we would call our system, that's the tool. And there's no other one.
No.
So there's no other one. So you can know about it, you can hate it, you can despise it.
You've no choice. You need to play it. That's when I was talking to you, Mind, and we're like, and I was like, how'd you get out of this? He's like, and you're like, to go where? It's like, unless you create something else, there isn't anything else. It is what it is.
That was the thing that Nathan de Rothschild said back in...
Which one's he?
He was back in the Napoleonic War.
Oh, he's up there.
I can't remember. It's 1760 something. I could be a century out there.
I know where you're going though.
His famous statement was like, "I care not who you put on the throne of the empire on which the sun never sets. He who controls the money supply controls the country."
Oh, fact.
So it didn't matter. And you look at it now, and it's so ingrained in everybody's life.
Yeah,
you've no way out. Like, unless you want to go back, go and live off the land somewhere, or live in a tribe, or it's like if you do anything that we know of as the world, it's got to be the short and curlies.
It's almost impossible to go off grid now as well. See, other than Alaska, we can't really do it here. It's too small. You can't literally. There's nowhere in the UK you can disappear to. Not big enough. And you see these folk and you just think, fucking imagine just not being in this shit, the rat race. Yeah. Just fucking free. Be great. But on the same time, it's just utter solitude. These people have nobody.
Yeah.
They're just there.
It's a world that we don't know.
No, yeah. I've experienced it for a day or two when you go and stay in a fucking bothy or something and you're out the road, but that'd be a different ballgame doing it.
Like, that's what I mean. The novelty's nice, but it's like, well, what happens when you want a warm shower, or you need to make a phone call, or what? You come back to reality with a bang, and you go, look. Even if you go and look at a bothy, you go into a bothy and it's like, where did the wood come from? And this wasn't like chopped down and then like planed.
But again, you can't just go and chop a tree down anymore. It's fucking illegal as shit. Can't cut one's the land's like, that's my fucking tree. What are you doing? The next thing, there's probably some stupid law you get done with now. Fucking the Tree Chopping Act of fucking 2021 or some pish. The next
they
thing,
just make it up as you go along.
Fucking mental.
Absolutely, that's governments now.
I've actually had the point where I've liked the idea of doing the bothy thing, and then the day we're going, I'm like, nah. just patched it. I'm just like, no toilet, no shower. There's a river, but it's fucking November. And I just feel like, fuck it, patched. We're no gone.
That's some Wim Hof stuff, that going for a bath and going for a wash in the river.
I mean, I fucking cold shower every morning, lad. I like it, but on the same token, like,
do you want to teabag a river on a November morning?
This is the hanger.
And it's not like you're going back to central heating.
No, you've this fuck out. You need to go light a fire or do that stupid warm up dance that he does.
The horse stance. You need to do that. So anybody you can, other than Elon Musk, is there anybody that's an alien among us? The Rothschilds would be a good one.
Clinton, you seen
Clinton?
Hillary. You know, seen the hangs of the speeches and that, and she's like fucking vomiting eggs into the bottom of her water glass and that.
No, I've not
seen
them.
Joking?
No, I've not seen them.
Lad.
Get them out.
Oh, I don't know if my signal will allow this. Let's fucking Clinton eggs water. I don't know if the fucking lead roof on the podcast studio is going to allow this. That's
us trying to keep out of the community guidelines getting searched.
Come on, 4G.
Do you want me to share the Wi-Fi with you?
Oh, have we actually got Wi-Fi
You
here?
just got to connect it. I think it's a 5X one.
Wait, let me fucking... Oh, you've got TikTok, huh?
Aye.
Aye, type... If you're on the... Are you on the Wi-Fi on your phone? What is it? This 2J... Oh, actually, you just said 2...
5 one.
Eh?
There's a 2X and there's a 5.
Ah, there's a 5.
The 5 one.
What's the password? You can.
Well, I should be able to share it with you for you.
How the fuck do you do that? See, I'm not a techie cunt. I have no interest in learning how to do this shit.
You're a knuckle dragger.
I just don't want to. I don't agree with all this crap, so I just didn't want to learn about it. I have it to upload tattoos.
Nah, we'll get the Jamie, we'll get the laptop there. Seeing as we're going to be looking up.
Aye,
some
Jamie.
stuff, I'll be Jamie for the night.
Aye, Jamie.
Let's go.
I just YouTube. I'll be on YouTube probably too, or TikTok or whatever. Just Hillary
They'll be
Clinton.
on YouTube, man. They censor everything. Hillary
Clinton eggs water, and it'll probably come up if you keep.
Do I need to put in water or can I put in water?
I mean, it's spelt the same, lad.
Is it?
Water.
How?
WATER. Water. And
Alien
again,
eggs.
there are many, many shots of this.
This
being caught.
this has been made in the papers.
Aye, fucking
Daily
right.
Star.
Oh, it's just they probably put it in the fucking start to fucking squash it. They'll be like, oh, it's in the Daily Star. It's fucking obviously bollocks.
Jesus.
But she goes to take a drink and you fucking...
There's like a pebble falling into the glass.
Mate, there's... Oh, can you see the video?
I'm going to put it up now.
There's more than one, lad. She doesn't...
It's on YouTube.
Aye. Again, because she's doing all this
She got a
cough and
cough.
shit, picks up the hangy and drops these fucking eggs in. Yeah, it's rotten, like.
What?
Aye.
Seen that? She's a wrongin'.
She'll fucking blink sideways, that one, lad.
Right, well that was another, on the topic of Hillary, are you familiar with her
Which
employees that have had an untimely death? Do you know the famous one about the guy that committed suicide?
was there not a lot when that Pizzagate shit came out and the kind of court and then the fucking, I'm sure like the judge has had her son and husband executed and there's been a few fucking untimely deaths around that situation as far as I can recall it. We're going back a few years now though.
The one that was discussed was the guy that had worked for Hillary and well, basically worked for the Hillarys, and he was ruled a suicide.
The Hillarys, the Clintons.
The Clintons, that's it, the Hillarys, fuck the Clintons. They worked for
the
well done for correcting that. I'd have looked like a right silly boy if that had not been corrected. So this guy worked for the Clintons, deemed a suicide, but he somehow drove out 30 miles, hung himself from a tree, and shot himself in the chest twice.
Oh wow, okay. That's good going.
And
was there a gun found?
No, just a suicide note that he wrote saying, I'm good with ropes and shotguns.
And
so,
I can throw really far that you won't find the gun.
Hillary body count is over 50 people, including Kobe Bryant, Jeffrey Epstein, Victor Thorne.
Was she getting blamed with Kobe's helicopter incident?
John F. Kennedy Jr. So John F. Kennedy Jr. was the apparent the airplane crash.
I don't know if I know about that one, to be fair.
She's got a better kill death ratio than some of the best Call of Duty players in the world's ever seen.
My grand sister married into the Kennedys.
Did she?
Yep. Head of the IRA family.
Oof. Still going strong?
I don't know. Not a clue.
Don't know.
Not a clue. I just ken that was a factor. She said it was an interesting wedding to be at.
So Epstein, you follow that?
Everybody has.
What do you make of it?
As in, what? Did he kill himself or was he done? Or
No, I mean, well, you've got Ghislaine Maxwell that was
I
the
think
son of
she's-
Robert Maxwell.
I think she's more a power player than he was. Like, I think she was like the fucking shot caller in that situation. She seems to be, for me anyway, she seems to be more of an important player than he was. Almost like he was her puppet type thing, if you get me.
Do you know what the best sort of guess as to what Epstein's role was played in this whole thing?
From what I can make out, it was a control setup. You know, before people get too big for their boots, he puts a chain on them type thing, and whatever goes on the island is the leverage that they need to keep people in tow. Is as far as what I take away from it anyway.
But I remember watching the Joe Rogan podcast, and the guys were on discussing it, and the one that I thought that fits really well was that Epstein was a Mossad agent, so Israeli intelligence.
Okay.
And Israeli intelligence has planted him here, and his sole purpose is to, I don't know what the, extreme trafficking version of like a honey trap is, but he's to honey trap all the Western elites that are all into this or subscribe to this idea of youthful interactions.
Nice
and
way of putting it.
they want to take the energy from the youth, and they're all in the game. That's all the currency. That's what they do. That's a whole underworld part. And Epstein was there to facilitate that, film it, so that the Mossad has got the leverage, like what you said, and they could have essentially the dirt on everybody because they knew that this was going on, and they say, look, we're going to make sure that it goes on in our place. Here's a nice island.
But why would Israel want control over the Western world when the Western world created Israel?
Did the Western world create Israel?
As far as I'm aware.
Or did Israel pull the strings for the Western world to agree to it to be created?
Well, as far as I was aware, with the whole, obviously it was Palestine, and then us in America were major players of who put the Israelites or Zionists or whatever the correct term is into Palestine, and that's then what's created this fucking powder keg over there.
Well, it's a very specific location, and the Israelis wanted that location because how it relates to
the Israelis, not just a couple of fucking 100 people. Was it not quite just? Was it not? Were they not just a minority at one point though?
Israel was the Jewish state, so it's not like couple hundred people. It's the Jewish state.
Oh, right, okay.
So where would be the homeland for the Jews? And the Jewish state wanted Israel to be created because of, I think it's because of its location and where their history goes back to the Temple of Solomon. So they wanted that particular place as theirs. However, that wasn't theirs. So you go back long enough, I think the Jewish year is different from our year. We've got a Christian year. I think the Jewish year is like 5,874.
I was looking at a thing the other night, and it was just like, what year is it in your country? And then all the countries and their calendars and what year each country believes in that.
So they were, the very, very short and slightly inaccurate version is they were exiled out of the Temple of Solomon, and they wanted to be worthy. To be worthy, they had to prove that they were worthy to be there, and they had to have earned the rights to get there. But as it all turned out,
because when
Palestine were essentially like, well, this is our place.
Yeah.
So
when exactly was Israel created? So 49, 50 years ago, something like that, thereabouts.
It was after World War II.
Aye. Right, so Israel is the home of the Jews.
The Jewish state.
Jewish state. So pre-Israel, where was it? Because obviously the Jewish people have been around for thousands of years. So surely they had a...
Well, the Jewish people is a religion. So it's a faith. But
like the Catholic Church has the Vatican. Surely they had a base point prior to...
If you go back to the start of their point, if you went back to in their history, their initial place was the Temple of Solomon.
So where Israel is now.
So they wanted their place
So
because
how,
they believe it's theirs.
right, so how did it get taken?
They were exiled.
By who?
I need to look it up because I'm not looked it up in a
Right, so if you
while.
go back far enough, Israel was, well, let's just call it Israel, originally, back in the day.
Have you read the Protocols of Zion?
Absolutely not, no.
Right, well,
I only learned the word Zionist this year. I didn't realise it was all kind of interlinked until I kind of mind it was Shapiro that was talking about it, because he's a Zionist, isn't he? And
he's a Zionist.
well, I didn't ken the term. Is that not the term for it? Is he not a?
But he's Jewish.
I know, but
He's
I'm
Jewish,
sure
but-
he was referred to as a Zionist recently. Is that even a term? Am I
So
making shit up?
Zionist is like a term for, depending on your perspective of it.
Okay.
The Protocols of Zion was a document, and the document was the minutes of a meeting, and the meeting was held, and it was essentially a blueprint for what this group that were in the Jewish community. So it doesn't represent all Jews.
So is
It
this
rep-
kind of like a Roman Catholic,
Like
English Catholic?
No, think of it more like if you had the Roman Catholic, and within the Roman Catholic order, you've got the Jesuits and the Jesuit order.
Okay.
So the Jesuit order is a small.
Is this a real thing that you're on about the now?
The Jesuit order is real,
I've never.
right? So the Jesuit order is a sort of how would you best describe it? A group of people that institute the will on a more extreme version, will do whatever it takes on behalf of.
Okay.
They have a belief
I
of
get
what
you.
it should
Yeah,
be.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Zionists had a belief of what they should be performing, and they rolled out this.
Right, so as a term then, Zionist is a thing.
Yeah.
Right,
Zionist
so
is a thing, but I don't know if Ben Shapiro would come out and say he's a Zionist.
No, I don't know if he did. I'm sure someone said,
yeah,
you
yeah,
are.
yeah. Well, that's because he's Jewish.
I mean, you can't lump every Jewish person in as
like
that,
that's like, you can't call every Catholic a Jesuit.
Yeah. Right, so this guy was just being
yeah.
a dick then to Ben Shapiro.
He's
basically.
maybe throwing around an accusation. I don't know. Like I don't know.
The clip I seen, he did it. I didn't see what came after this. It was just
Well,
this
you-
guy being like, "Bosh."
The whole idea of a Zionist is that they infiltrate all governments. So
Right, okay.
what you want to do, like, so you wouldn't come out as publicly as Ben Shapiro.
And
If,
say,
if Ben Shapiro is a Zionist, he's a really bad one. Right? If what you understand, like if what we can understand from, like, say, the Protocols of Zion, the deal is if you're a Zionist,
is this a public document you can look up?
yeah, you can look up the
Okay.
Protocols of Zion, and it's been said it's anti-Semitic. It's been said that it's a forgery. It's an attack. All this stuff. Right. See if you read. I read that it's 88 pages
So
long.
it's not been confirmed by, it's not accepted by the sort of Jewish religion or anything
If
like
you
that.
were a Zionist, would you accept it? You'd be like,
I don't know what it is though.
You-
I've not even
Right, so
fucking
here's
read it.
Here's what the Protocols of Zion is we were exiled out of this place, Temple of Solomon,
Okay.
right? But our Creator put us here to rule over everyone else, right?
Oh, I do
So
know about
you-
this
They
thing.
call him the Goyim, the Beast.
Because there's a word for white people, is there not?
Goyim.
Oh, is that what that is?
Goyim is the beast. So the men are created in the image of the beast. So much like you have cattle, and the farmer rules over the livestock.
I was listening to something and like something to do with like white people are here to like serve their masters and all
Yeah.
this type of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
the Protocols of Zion basically list in, I think it's 1901 or in that ballpark, circa that period,
Okay.
that they had. They were explaining how they were going to pull this off,
Yeah.
and they were going to infiltrate government, law, media. All they were going to control what was said in history, what was said in education, what rules were controlled at a government level, at law, all this type of thing. Essentially, they were going to corner the narrative on every angle, and that they could decide who gets to play the game as long as they pulled it off of their
I feel
will.
like that's kind of been achieved.
If you
to a
read the
point.
Protocols of Zion now,
Yeah.
you would look at this and go, see, if we believe that the Protocols of Zion are an attack, anti-Semitic, a forgery, a hoax, and all this sort of stuff,
Yeah.
you would read the Protocols of Zion and you go, see, for a hoax, this is almost a foretelling, because it very much appears that this is like this document could fit today. We could fill in the parts of. We could put Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, Bud Light, woke. Changing the rules, COVID. You could put them all in.
I feel like Bud Light is not on this document from 1901.
Bud Light was not on there, and it was Klaus Schwab. But you know what I mean? Is you could score it.
What did Bud Light do again? Was it not some weird thing on an advert?
They got a guy who was saying that he was trans to do their ad campaign and promote that he was a woman. They say this is a guy.
Was that what it was that crashed Bud?
Okay. And essentially, like Bud Light's like the American beer. Represents everything that's American. Dude's going to the game, having a bud, and then you've got this clearly the guy got a sponsorship for Tampax, for tampons, and they're all just jumping on the woke brigade, and then next thing, people are like guys are going to the game, watching the game or the hockey, they're like nah, and Bud Light tank. That's how the Dana White got. I don't know how much he got offered, but Bud Light sort of went, look, we've really fucked this.
Did he take it?
Aye. So he's like, look,
he'll be smashing it now. Can 400 million for the UFC and all that, and then whatever Bud Light have fucking.
I don't know how much it would take, but they must have offered him a lot. Fat number. It must have had.
I think it'll be bigger than the UFC number.
You think so?
I think so. Why? If you've got 400 mil in the bank, I mean, I know he likes a gamble and that, but he's still a wealthy man. You're not gonna put your head on the chopping block for a $5.
So the Jerusalem is the temple of Jerusalem, and it's a place of worship and the identity of Israel. So that's why they wanted this place. Is like this.
But Jerusalem's been there. It's old.
Well, you know look at the Jewish calendar. Look how long the Jewish calendar is.
Thing is, I think like since I've been alive, it's been there. So I've never known any different. You know what I mean? It's always just been there as a place. And I've been that busy recently.
So it says here the first temple was constructed during the reign of David's son Solomon and completed at 957 BCE. So other sanctuaries retained their religious functions, however. Josiah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, 640 to 609 BC, abolished them, and the Temple of Jerusalem is the only place of sacrifice in the Kingdom of Judah. So these are the things where you really need to go into old history to find out how they operated, then you start to get the pieces where you can connect the dots. And
what's the oldest religion? Do you know? As far as
the ones that still exist.
No, like, I actually.
Well, in our modern history, like the oldest people that we have history of is the Sumerians. So the Sumerians had cuneiform tablets, and the Sumerians had some of the stuff that was translated from their tablets. Now we're getting to the point where we can't let this out, because if we say that someone reigned for 35,000 years. How did they do that?
It's going to question because we weren't alive then, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, and then you get into the pyramids and like all that sort of stuff where you go, well, the pyramids and the Sphinx were there a lot earlier than what you claim them to be.
The Sphinx was there a lot earlier than the fucking pyramids as well. Yeah.
And then you look at the energy centre, you look at how did they move the blocks, the 90-ton blocks?
I seen a picture the other day and it was like, oh, I know how they built the pyramids, and someone's kind of made an old time looking picture of just all these slaves carrying a block the size of a fucking building. It's like, no, they didn't. Like,
see, for somebody that's done construction, how outrageous is that?
I know.
Like, you go, there's not
enough men that could get shoulder to shoulder to lift 70 fucking tons above their head.
You couldn't fucking build a ramp big enough.
No. We can't even get the geometry correct today with lasers, let alone fucking however they did it back in the day.
Let's look at what we want to light it up with next. Right. I'm going to run through some of them you can pick.
Okay, go. Right. Shoot.
Who shot JFK? What happened to Maddie McCann? The moon landing? 9/11? Or Stephen Avery, the Making a Murderer guy? The Netflix series.
I didn't watch that, so let's sack him because I don't know a whole lot about him.
Epstein Island we've done. Why have the FBI not released the documents? What do you think?
Which documents?
So all the flight logs, all the DVDs, all the photographs at the cover.
The world will fall apart if they do. And then there'll be that whole disbelief when folk are like,
people
nah.
who run the world, the people in the Western governments and the elites, they're not going to go, well, hey, look, we've got our goons to go and pick up all the stuff. Let's go and show it out. Let's go and put it on. Like, so we've got our goons to go and collect this stuff. We've off the guy. We've let Mossad know, like, we're not going to be leaned on. And yeah, are we going to publicise it? Nah.
Nope. Scratch.
Conor McGregor's pub is a front for the Irish cartel.
This is the first.
That's new to me.
Yeah, that's new to me too.
I think it's a bit mild for like the kind of topics that we're on when we talk about like ancient history, ancient aliens.
Conor McGregor. I heard he'd bought a pub, but why would it be a front? Surely, if you had something as a front, you would want it quite low key and quiet and not in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Ken McGregor's, he's a forward man. He's not somebody that sneaks around in the shadows.
Well, I mean, what would the Irish mafia have on him to say, look,
you need to open a pub,
Conor, I know you're caked to the back teeth in cash,
but
however, we've got a proposition for you.
We need a dig out.
We're going to start selling Guinness, and you're our guy.
He's another guy. This 400 million seems to be a number like the folk just get handed to. Huh? That's what he sold fucking Proper 12 for.
Really?
And it's shit.
Is it?
I don't like it.
Nah.
It's rough as toast.
Really?
Aye. I've got a bottle in the house.
They good? I'm not a whiskey guy, so I don't know.
I didn't enjoy it.
So, ancient astronaut theory, species with amnesia.
Ancient astronaut theory? What the fuck does that even mean?
Ancient astronaut theory is that we were engineered by... We were visited and engineered. We've been genetically engineered.
Yeah, because we can't find the connection between A and B.
So we've got
something was interjected.
It seems that someone's came along and edited our gene sequence, and that there's no way that it's not been an evolutionary jump. It's been engineered into us.
Okay.
You know, you heard much of this?
No, I know. Yeah, I know exactly what you're on about. Yeah, aye. If there hasn't been something step in and do a little mod con here and there, where are the bodies?
What bodies?
Like, we can find Homo sapiens and Homo erectus and Homo deus and the Homo whatever is, and now we're just here.
But they dug up all the some of the bodies that have been found. You've got the elongated skulls, you've got the giants that are 11 and 12 feet tall.
11, 12 feet tall.
Yeah,
fuck, I've seen some at 30. They're fucking enormous. Mate, some of them are fucking huge, and there's multiple.
And it's like if they're going to hide a fucking 59-foot silver disc flying fucking UFO, would you think they're going to hide that in the side of the mountain, but they're going to go, look, we better show them this one?
Right. So, but like we found all the pre-us, and then caveman, I can't remember which the step is. I know now we're obviously Homo sapiens, but between then and there's nothing. Nothing.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, like modern history, if you look at the timeline of Earth at 4.5 billion years, and you look at
if that's
all the things, if that's the number, because we're only taking that as an estimate or a best guess.
Yeah.
And then you look at like the Sumerian tablets are 6,000 years old. So like our history as we know it is 6,000 to 8,000 years old. So I can't remember if it's 6,000 BC and then we are 2,000, which would be 8, but it's 6,000 to 8,000. And then you've got...
But they're finding places that predate that.
Well,
Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe's...
That's a perfect
12,000 years old it is.
Aye. And you've got places that predate the Ice Age.
Yeah.
But we're only 9,600 maximum. Well, bollocks then. How is this place 3,000 years older? Or like you're saying, these guys have reigned for 35,000 years.
But this is the thing, like, see, one of the other ones that was in there was the Hermetic Principles. So it's the Hermetic Principles were etched into emerald tablets so they would never deteriorate. And it was...
Is that the crack? Have they found them at all?
Aye, they've been found them. They were found in Egypt under the pyramids.
Okay.
One of the chambers in the pyramids.
Okay.
And Thoth is who carried out the work. He's also known as Hermes Trismegistus.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the 7 Hermetic Principles, which is the knowledge of the universe. And I can't remember them all, but it's the principle of gender, the principle of polarity, So as above, so below. The like every god, if you, no matter what the religion, when you start to go further and further back, the story goes that there's a male creator, right, and a female energy, and they combined and create a male child, and we are the male child. Like, that's humanity. And the creative part is our ability to, you ever heard the we are made in the image of God? Well, where it comes from is that we have thoughts, which is our male energy, so we can create ideas, and we also have spirit and emotions, which is our female energy, and we're created and it's within us, and that's the image of God. And Thoth lays out the 7 principles, the 7 hermetic principles, and they believe that the pyramids was an energy center where if you were enlightened, you could regenerate using the harmonic frequencies that came from the pyramids.
Well, see, I touched on the frequency thing, and there was a branch of the Third Reich, and their sole purpose was to go and retrieve bells.
Yeah,
and they're categorized from pre-1200s, pre-1500s, right up to modern day. And that's where they found out, kind of like, obviously frequency can heal, and these bells are all manufactured to give off these certain frequencies, and it was quite a fucking interesting watch, to be fair. Like,
well, everything
everything has a frequency. Everything.
That's how they reckon that they levitated the stones for the pyramids. They resonated the frequency of the blocks and could move them.
Did we touch on the frequency engine before?
Which, the frequency engine?
Aye, so they found essentially let's just call it a tablet, for example, and it displays the same as a nuclear reactor, but it is not a nuclear reactor. And I think, so it's a frequency drive, and I think it kind of acts the same as like a nuclear reactor, Ken, with the fucking, this is where it gets too sciencey for me, and I didn't ken the words, but Ken, the fucking, kind of like in the brain, all the neurons, and it creates the fucking energy and so on and so forward. And there's companies like Toyota and shit that are putting a lot of money into it, and they think this will be the next, because if you can create an engine from fucking sound, that's clean as fuck.
I can't remember the German doctor, but there was a German doctor that visited one of the monk masters, in the Tibetan hills.
Yeah.
They tell you about this one with the
Himalayans.
with the pipes. They levitated the stone.
No, I might not be new. I was talking to them. I physically watched a video of a boy do this with a didgeridoo.
Yeah, it's like that big, huge, long pipe.
Yeah.
And they've got the drums, and what they're doing is they're creating the frequency, and they're sending the waves that matches the frequency of the rock, and the rock levitates.
I watched this cunt with a didgeridoo play a frequency down this, lift this fucking massive. It would have been heavy to pick up, and he's picked it up on the end of a fucking pipe, moved it and put it down again. Now again, 2023, you can manipulate videos and that, but going by that, and then what I've seen with this thing they've found, and the fact that people like Toyota and Nissan are pumping money into the research of it, it can't be nonsense.
Well, Nikola Tesla?
Not personally, but...
No, I know. I'd been slightly concerned if you did. He said, when you start to realise that the numbers 369, you'll start to understand the universe. And he says that start to see things as energy, frequency, and vibration, because everything is. So everything has a frequency and everything has a vibration.
Did they not used to use the fucking sound forks back in the day for medical purposes and shit like that?
Tuning forks?
Ah, yeah. You know what I'm on about? The fucking thingamajigger.
Have you seen the test that they do with those? Have you seen the...
Is this the thing that can the whole we're on the same frequency type fucking test? Is that what you're on about?
So what they do is they take a tuning fork and say they've got one at 432 hertz.
Yeah.
So this tuning fork, if you hit it, will vibrate at 432. And say you have a tuning fork at 524.
Yeah.
Right. You can take. So they've got mismatched frequencies.
Yep.
You can set the one tuning fork next to the other, hit one of them, and the other one won't move.
Yep.
right? And when you take two tuning forks that are tuned to the same frequency, so 524 and 524, you hit one tuning fork and the other one will resonate.
Yeah.
Because they're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
On the same wavelength, that's where it comes from. And this is what Tesla was saying, and he would only stay in hotel rooms divisible by the number 3. So he was in a skyscraper in a big hotel in America, and he wanted to see if he could figure out the frequency of the building, and nearly shook the thing to the ground. And this is why he was all his work was confiscated at the time of his death.
Yep.
Because they kept a very, very close eye, because he understood the keys of the universe.
Got it.
And this is where you come back to things like cymatics. Cymatics is a healing tool. So imagine that we have cells in our body. This is good because we're running right into the next one. The next conspiracy theory is Western medicine hiding alternative healing techniques?
Oh, fucking right it is. John D. John D's the boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is what you want. Is like there's no money in healthy people.
Nope.
And there's no money in dead people.
Nope.
The money is in sick people.
Correct.
The pharmaceutical industrial complex.
Yep.
So I reckon that we are definitely going to be demonetized on YouTube with this one.
Oh, 100%.
So the
fact check.
This one's for you, Pfizer. The cymatics there was people that were doctors that were using these frequencies to heal people, and what it was
That's
is
what
that
I meant. Was it a tuning fork type setup though?
They were using crude and rudimentary devices, so they were using devices that would give off these frequencies, and what they worked out is that dependent on what was wrong with someone, what was happening is at a cellular level they were out of resonance, they were out of homeostasis, and if they were out of homeostasis for so long, they would become ill and sick, and it was at a cellular level. And just like Tesla's worked out the frequency of the building, he's hit it and it's resonated. If you could do that in cells, you could heal the cells.
You could fix people, for
sure. You could put them back into homeostasis, you could get them back in harmony.
Yeah.
And this is what they were using, cymatics, so various devices, and it moved from sending the frequency using things like tuning forks, and you've probably seen the test, because they take they'll put it on a flat sheet of paper or a flat metal sheet, and then they'll put the frequency and it will change shape. Like they'll put rice on the top or sand on the top, and it'll move into these shapes.
Yeah.
This is what it's doing in the cell. So it's putting it back what the cell needs to be. And they worked out that depending on what the condition was, they hit certain frequeneed, and if they could then heal people. And there's a picture of the guy. I remember watching the series on it, and the guy's, I need to look up his name, John something, and he's in England. He ran a practice. Now this guy had full head of white hair. He's in a suit, and they're explaining that he was using cymatics, and what he worked out is that the guy that showed him cymatics, he'd then taken it further and developed it, and he reckoned that he developed a machine that resonated and people put their feet on it, and he says if you got that frequency up against the skin,
like a form of
it'd be even more powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this dude's good. And he says this picture is of, say his name's John, he's 104 years old. I was like, there's no way. This guy looks early 60s.
Yeah.
And he reckoned that he lived so long and looked so good because he's using this cymatic frequency devices.
Is that not kind of similar to the whole purpose and grounding? Do we not kind of resonate the same as the Earth, if you like?
So the Earth's got a frequency.
Because there's proof that like grounding will correct blood pressure and correct all this type of shit to stress, and
you can actually measure it. You can take your shoes off, go on to you can touch the Earth.
Yeah.
And the Earth, I can't remember the frequency. The Earth's frequencies got a certain
all these
resonance.
fucking rubber soles,
all the rubber
detach
soles
us from the fucking the grounding process.
Like even I see the missus when she's feeling a bit, she's just feeling a bit stressed out, or she's feeling a bit.
Go here, walk in the garden with her shoes off.
No, take her like watering woods.
Yeah,
and it's because the trees and the water resonate at a frequency, and when you just go and you just go walk around somewhere. You ever went and said, I need to go a walk?
Yeah.
You ever wonder why? Because you go, I'll just clear my head. It's just to get away from it. I just need to do whatever. You don't realise that
see
you
it's now
go,
on the new NHS advert
what's that?
to go for a 10-minute walk a day and it'll help your mental health and all
is
this
it?
shit. Aye, they're actually promoting it
Really?
now. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that they're promoting health.
Yeah, but aye, that's it. They probably hope someone slips and hurts themselves.
Aye, but just make
this time
sure
of
you're wearing rubber shoes and make sure it's in a concrete jungle.
Aye, yeah, exactly. Aye. The last
10-minute
is
walk
walking
within
through
reason.
a city park in the advert, but yeah.
I get you. But there's lots of stuff, even like chemtrails. Like people talk about chemtrails and they're
That's
like,
a thing. 100% that's a thing. There's a fucking, you seen the planes inside of them? Holy fuck.
I've not seen inside one.
Nah?
I've seen one malfunction in the airport.
Fuck, you did,
And
didn't
the
you?
thing's
And it was just
pumping
blasting
all
out.
the chemical.
Nah, so inside, so if you replace the seats and people with chemical tanks, just the whole fucking plane. Whole thing.
Wow.
Whole fucking thing. And folks say it's not a real thing in that. There's literally kind of like a NASA badge. Can the cunts that do it?
Do you know where it started?
No,
Right,
I don't.
so
I don't actually.
NASA produced a document. Like, let me give you some information on it. NASA in 1986 created a whole public information about geoengineering. Now, the grand plan, if you're looking to go, say we want to go to Mars.
Yep.
This is what's laughable about climate change and all this sort of stuff. When you go to a planet, like, you want to terraform the planet.
Yeah, to make the atmosphere to suit yourself.
The
Absolutely.
terraforming means that you have got the ability to make substantial changes to the components of a planet
Yep. The atmosphere.
to such an extent that you can essentially edit what's there, create more atmosphere, change
Make
different
it livable
factors.
for us as well, for starters.
So NASA in 86 said, look, we're going to do, this is like geoengineering. So if you wanted to control
The weather,
the weather, this would be how you would do it. Now, how they did it was they were going into the sky using planes and dispersing chemicals, mainly silver nitrate, and they were using this to adjust the weather. So the idea, like, it's all benign to start with.
Yeah.
It's like, in the event of a drought,
we can make it rain.
we can make it rain.
They do it now in America all the
They
time.
do in Dubai.
Yeah.
Like Dubai, they seed the clouds all the time because it's in a desert. So people go, well, look, we need, you need water, you need rain.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? And they seed the clouds. The Russians used to do it on, like the Soviet Union used to do it when they were having their parades. They would go and, because so you can essentially control the weather. You can pick which weather you want.
Yeah.
And you could, the Russians didn't want any rain. So they would go and make sure all the clouds were at the sky so they could have a nice parade. Yeah. And meanwhile, people are like, chemtrails don't exist. That's nonsense. Like, you seen the big, massive streak in the sky?
Oh, you see them. Like, what, giant clouds form hatch markings? They don't.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And like fucking, but even in America, they know the way the weather flows.
Yeah.
If they need it to rain, however many miles down the road, they've got these big factories that just blast steam, chemical steam. Right, they will blast all this fucking moisture into the air and it'll rain 20 miles down the road. They've been doing it for fucking years.
I mean, even if you look at, for instance, like that was one of the things that, if you look at, say, the Vietnam War, the whole idea with napalm, other than setting people on fire, which was an unfortunate side effect.
It's banned now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's considered just heinous. There's things like there's things that are banned. Whether they're used is another question. But things that they banned was like chemical warfare, biological warfare.
Mustard gas and shit was banned.
It's just like, look, there's a point where you go, look,
enough.
This is heinous.
Aye.
And the whole idea when you get something like Agent Orange and things like that was as if we can destroy. If we can destroy the enemy's food supply, so like if you look, for instance, World War II, tactics were bomb their factories, bomb the roads, bomb their bridges, bomb the railways. So if we can destroy the infrastructure, they can't move things where they need them, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on. And this is the Germans did that in terms of all the boats that were coming across the Atlantic. Let's sink the boats, cut off the supply, make it difficult. So it's always been part of a tactical play where if you go, look, if we can disrupt the supply chain or the supplies or the infrastructure, that's really good. Now, what if you wanted to do that via a drought? Like you wanted to make sure that your enemy got no rain and they couldn't raise any crops, or they didn't have drinking water, or they didn't have, or you were, monsoon season, you just battered them with weather. That'd be a pretty good tool. That'd be a really good tool. And it's like, look, so you've got clear evidence that they used it in World War II in terms of the strategy. We want to disrupt the infrastructure and the ability for the enemy to get supplies, commodities and all that sort of stuff, fuel, food, water, materials, all that type of thing. And then you look at the Vietnam War, where they went to chemical and, essentially scorched earth, where they're going, look, we want to burn their crops and we don't want to destroy the agriculture so that they can't do it again. Can't do anything. Poison the water, poison the food. So a natural progression would be, well, see, you've got this technology that can influence the weather, and NASA's publicly said that they have it. The Russians have used it, and Dubai use it. And you don't think they might want to maybe apply that anywhere? You go, nah.
This is the thing, like you say, public information, and folks, they're like, they can't do that. They can and they have for decades. Not a couple of years, decades. Long fucking time.
But this is the whole thing with Hawaii situation. Like they reckon there's a big hoo-ha about how.
Have you seen the footage?
Mikey,
the laser shit.
It looks very suspicious.
Fucking really looks suspicious. There's a fucking lightning bolt fucking coming out. Again, mobile phone footage for starts. Multiple. Far too many for it to be absolute horseshit. And then it starts to make sense why Oprah's house was blue. For starts. Whole region gets torched. Blue cars, blue t-shirts, blue hoosies, blue umbrellas, blue bins. Ken, literally a blue bin next to another colour bin, fucked, melt it. Blue bin isn't even burnt, heated up. So it's not a fire.
You've got Oprah Winfrey on Epstein Island, a billionaire.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly, she was on the flight logs.
No.
She was allegedly on the flight logs. She was allegedly there. And I believe she likes pizza now and again.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear that thing she said about, abusers? Kind of like if something to do with like if the abuser's good, the child won't know they're being abused or some shit. And it's like, what? And you can look that one up. That's the fucking thing. And I'm like, what the fuck did she just say?
Yeah.
If he's any good, the kid. I'm like, wow, hen.
It's madness.
Ken, and that was on a fucking interview. Ken, this isn't like a behind closed doors conversation that's been leaked. This was on the telly. And I'm like, excuse me?
Well, here's the thing about, like, I remember the post for Elon about all this sort of stuff, because like what we would argue the other side of it, because there'll be people out there going, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
Right, but what happens is it gets to the point where it's blatantly obvious that now you need to be really naive, or you want to just have the quiet life and you want to bury your head in the sand.
Sure.
But it's that obvious now. Like, for instance, the whole thing with COVID, party during lockdown at number 10, them blatantly breaking the rules, them saying that they're just going to scare people, they're going to say that old people have had a good time so we can let them go, and then they mysteriously say like all the WhatsApp messages have disappeared and we don't know where they went.
Is that all went missing?
Everybody in Downing Street, everybody in Downing Street had a software update or a factory reset,
right, okay.
And 5,000 WhatsApp messages disappeared.
Boom, nice,
just like that,
convenient.
And but what they're saying is like, it becomes to the point where it's obvious now. Even the hardliners that bought into it now will go, yeah, we bought into that, and I don't think we were right, and it appears that we've been lied to. And you look at, for instance,
you mean the hardliners that were COVID,
COVID, double mask in the car alone, jab army and all that sort of stuff.
I just stopped and just stared at him as he walked past me. I'm like, what are you doing? Outside to, not even like he was in a confined space, literally in the street. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
why? Fucking clown, man.
It's a crazy time, and this is what I mean about people. Like, when you get things like this stuff that we're talking about, there'll be people out there who goes, look, man, I can't get my head around this. But it becomes overwhelming.
It does. Like, knowledge is power, but knowledge is also heavy.
It's a burden. It's a responsibility. And you can see, like, and I'm not making excuses for the people that just put their head in the sand.
Oh, no,
you
I
can
get
understand it.
I get it, for
where
sure.
you go, look.
Because when you find things out and you're like, I wish I didn't know
Well, it's
that.
the same thing with like that was the whole deal with Matrix with Neo. Do you want the red pill or the blue pill? And they're like, there's no going back.
No, that's
and
it.
he goes and you can see he's like, I can't believe this is what it is. So it's that in real life, but you've got people that go, I'll just bury my head in the sand, and then you get someone like Elon Musk, who turns up and he's like, well, I've bought Twitter, I've got all the files,
Aye.
I can see the collusion, I can see what's been done. And then did you see the post that he put out? He's like, you're angry at everybody for lying to you, and then you're not angry at all these people that have lied to you, and then you attack me because I proved that they did.
Aye, that's it. Aye, yeah.
And this is the thing is, you get to the point where you go, right, look, sure, there's some lunatic conspiracies out there.
Mate, yeah.
Why, what was the one that I couldn't get my head around? You told me about it with
the bloodlines.
The bloodline.
Aye.
Merkel, that was it.
Yeah,
Merkel and Obama are cousins.
Descendants of Hitler, allegedly. Where this guy has the fucking... It's one of these ones, this conspiracy theory comes out of nowhere, and this one I would say is a fucking conspiracy theory. I don't think there's any truth behind this at all. But he's like, I've got proof. Well, don't tell me the story, and then don't show me how you've came to this conclusion, you fucking goat.
Yeah.
Ken, he's just threw a stone and then ran away. And I'm like, sound pal, no bother. And it's like, that's probably the furthest fetched conspiracy theory I've came across. Like, you have a white woman in Germany and a black man in America, and somehow there's this link where his mum or his gran with Hitler in South America, and it's like, all right. I don't even know if their ages can even tie into the timeline if, he ended up here and there and so on and so forward. Like, if he ended up there after the war, I don't think Merkel would have even been alive yet. So, how is he pumped someone in Germany when he's here and then pumped her for him to be born up here and so on and so forward? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't know. I've not looked at the numbers.
Because he's not jumping on the fucking plane and just I'm going to nip back to Germany, see if it's chilled out a bit.
Merkel is not an attractive woman, and
he wasn't an attractive man.
I bet Merkel's much less attractive than like Hitler. Hitler didn't look like a munchkin. Like, I know there's no.
He was a very small man, though.
He didn't look like Merkel.
No, he didn't look like Merkel. No.
Like if Hitler went out for he's came back. He's been in Argentina, right? And he's
came back with tan. He's out on the tiles.
He's tanned up, right? He's shaved the tash.
Or he's grew in an 80s porno number.
Oh, he's got an 80s porno tash. He's tanned. He's never.
He's got his flowery shirt on, his white chinos.
He's been down to the Antarctic subbase. He's met his alien dude, his pals. They're saying, 1,000-year Reich, we're going to hit you up with some of this good juice. So Hitler's got a new lease of life, right? And he's back to 25-year-old Mein Führer, right? Tanned up. He's feeling top, and he gets steaming on the German beer, right? It's Oktoberfest.
Right,
he gets bluttered, goes for a bratwurst, bumps into something he deeply regret the next day, and he has a good time. He does what young Hitler would have done, and some munchkin has left with.
This is technically she's the grandkid. So the spawn of the spawn that he pumped when he was
somebody's bogging somewhere, because Merkel's not an attractive woman.
No.
Something went awry somewhere. There was a leprechaun in the middle of this, because that's the closest thing that Merkel looks like, is a leprechaun. And Barack Obama, for all the faults that he's got, doesn't look like a leprechaun. And if he does, then Ireland don't know about this type of leprechaun.
I think her and Sturgeon had the same fucking hairdresser and the same fucking personal shopper.
Whatever blood ritual weird setup is in this enclave of secret club, right? There's something happening dodgy to these women, or either that, or it's the really alienated women who have not been blessed with the gene pool that are really attracted to this setup. They're like, look, nothing good's going for us out here. What's the deal? Right.
Done.
So I need to look butch, right? I need to swear an oath to some dodgy god, I need to do a couple of blood rituals. I need to look the other way with a couple of things, and then I make up all these rules according to this art.
And you get handed the key to the city.
Right, good. I'm in, because see out here, it's not working for me.
That's it.
That seen that thing about Sturgeon, and I don't know if it was a joke. I had a picture. It's a picture of her yearbook when she was at university.
Okay.
And apparently in the, you get like the comments. So somebody put her nickname in at university was Seaweed, because even the tide wouldn't take her out.
Oh, wow.
So you can see how she's probably been roped in, right? Look, dark and dodgy secrets, blood rituals, and come and join the club. But look, you need to sell your soul to the devil, but you're going to have a better time. People are going to like you.
Aye, that's it. You're going to be fucking...
We know we've had a look at you and we think you'll be up for the trade. It's like you remember the Deal or No Deal with the boxes?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's like they've probably pitched her to it like this, and they've made her the offer.
Maybe
she
they've
can't
sat her
refuse.
down and they've had to play a guess who blind, and what was left, that's what you were getting given.
Mm.
This is you.
But I mean, if you were in government, right? Say for instance you're in a government position.
I think that'd be really good.
You could be, but if you were let's say you were going to be a rangin, a wrong one.
A rangin.
A
badding.
Right, so say you're going to go Sturgeon and you're going to go rogue, or you're going to do a Matt Hancock and you're just heinous. I mean, getting pulled out of office and having to retire for a motorhome.
Who's this?
Sturgeon.
I knew the thing about the husband apparently making 800 grand go missing or some shit like that. The motorhome thing's new to me.
But I mean, like, if you're in government,
was it 800 grand?
800 grand. I mean, like 800 grand is not a small sum of money. But if you've got massive authority in a government, you're going to go ballistic. You're going to go balls out. 800 grand is not even washing the dishes.
No.
Like if say you're rogue in the government, like
Matt made 85 million vanish.
Yeah,
that's a good number.
His pal's got 4.4 billion quid's worth of contracts for PPE that you wouldn't wear on Halloween.
Is that the pub landlord boy?
Who?
Well, his pub landlord got a PP contract off him for like 5.7 million.
Oh, aye, that's probably a good deal. Aye,
and he's two loads of 10 million went to a hotel room in Beijing. That's as far as I can track it.
Right.
But that doesn't
seems legit.
That doesn't get you sacked.
Right.
Don't kiss your secretary. That'll get you fucking binned. 85 million. Nah, you're fine, mate.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. But don't you dare kiss someone during the fucking pandemic.
Madness.
Bosh.
Absolute madness.
You see her daughter, the lassie's daughter, was on TikTok, like, thanks to my mom and Matt Hancock for making high school really difficult for me. I on TikTok, I'm like, fucking yes, and like,
yes,
good on you.
Good on her, that's good. But that was the whole thing. I mean, you go, if you were, there's like, take Zelensky, right? Zelensky's a bad dude.
He's a fucking
but
puppet.
I mean, if you were going to be a baddie, right? You've got one end, you've got Sturgeon at 800 grand in a motorhome, right? And you've got Zelensky, who's
millions.
But he's in the billions.
No, yeah. Now he is.
He's billions. He's so coked up, he can't even look at this. He can't even look at the right camera. And now he's running about going, look, listen, I know we've extracted, whatever it is, 140 billion out of America. Any chance?
So the figures that now?
100. I think it's, the last time I knew, I looked, it was 137 billion. You get to the point where you go, look, that's just funds from America.
Because before that agreement, the arms agreement with America was hanging. I think the number I came across was like 11.7 million a month he was generating.
Here's an interesting fact for you about Zelensky. So Zelensky is Ukraine, and baddies are Russians. So Zelensky, I don't know what the bureaucrats are on in Ukraine, but Zelensky seems to be doing rather well because he's got a mansion in Italy.
And Florida. And London.
And he rented out to a couple for 50,000 euros a month. Guess where that couple's from?
I'm going to take a stab in the dark. And
I'll give you 3 guesses, but you'll only need one.
Russia. Oh. You'd think there'd be a conflict interest there, would you know? Taking oligarch money during a war.
And being a landlord. Be like, hey.
Aye.
How you doing?
Oh, we've got a leak. I'll be round there now.
Aircon the work, I'll send one of the guys round. be an American.
Tell you what, I need to become an actor, because if he can do an acting role that well that they're like, you were actually really good at playing the president, we're going to make you the president. I need to now become an actor, get cast in a role of where I want to be in the world, because that seems to be the way to get there.
Well, if you look at the trend, if you look at, say, for instance, I'm gonna suggest something that's maybe going to rule you out of that, right? Because the trend is we've had Zelensky, who's 4'2", only topped by Sunak, who's 4'1.5".
I'm too tall, aren't I?
I mean, you're at the other end of the scale.
I know, I fucked it, mate.
You're at the other end of the scale. But like, you look at the Argentinian vote, they voted a guy and just tore all the woke things apart. He's like, get rid of the central bank. I don't know how he's
the next guy on the chopping block.
No, he's went. Look, we're gutting this out. So that, and you've got Musk, who's came out and says, look, we're going to no more. Like, advertisers are trying to tell us what we can do. Take a fuck to yourself. He's like, he's got a problem. His quote was really good. I don't know if you've seen this, but he says, I have a real problem with the world where people claim, Elon Musk is like, people claim to be doing good, but doing evil.
Yeah.
He says, I've got a real problem with that. And if you've got advertisers that are prepared to look good and want to do evil and want to tell us how we operate, fuck them. He says, no more.
Yeah.
And he's just got the suite of the collusion with the government, censoring people, getting Trump kicked off Twitter, all this sort of stuff. And it's like, see, it doesn't matter what you think about these types of people. The thing that was wild to me was the Taliban was on Twitter and Trump was kicked off Twitter. The Taliban was on Twitter.
I still think it's kind of mental that they're now an official government as well. Okay, because us and the Americans have recognised them, so now they're no longer classed as terrorists or anything like that.
Do you know that's the deal with the Montevideo Convention? Was a convention they had in 1933 where the sovereign heads got together and says, look, we need to try and determine what a country is. And one of the things that you needed to be a country was you needed to be recognised by another state.
Yeah.
And
two.
Yeah. There you go. That's it. That's it.
Bosh, done. Official.
Craziness.
I know.
Let's see what other mad ones we've got here.
We had Maddie. Maddie came up. Maddie's always a goodie.
What do you think?
They killed her.
They?
Fact.
What do you think?
Well, see, I can't make my mind up with Kate. I think Jerry defo is not a nice man.
No?
Nah, even just looking at the interviews after, Kate looks like a woman that lost her kid. Jerry doesn't. Jerry looks like a guy who knows exactly what happened to the kid. And then all the evidence the Portuguese police had that got fucking brushed aside. Kind of blood found in the hotel room, in the cupboard and all this shit. Okay, the back of the fucking rental car and that. Motherfucker.
That's grim, innit?
Imagine doing your own burn. Fucking wrongin'.
It's madness. Well, I mean, again, it's not on the topic of mechanism. I'm not suggesting this is the case, but the child sacrifice was, one of the gods was Baal, and Baal was the
Balenciaga and all that chat.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and it's like, I'm not suggesting that's the case, but it's been through history, and there's been lots and lots of evidence that this isn't just a hypothesis. This has been something that's...
There's a group of people that all have certain things in common, that have certain coloured shoes, and shoes are made from certain materials, and so on and so forward, and, you know, and...
Dark, man.
Oh, it's very dark.
It's dark.
I can't really find anything out about what the whole thing is. I can find a rough, like, this is how you get into this circle, and what the crack is, but not what it is, or why it is, or I can't find anything.
Well, remember, like, if you get back to the principles, that one of the Hermetic principles is polarity. And I was watching a series and it was really good. And it said, it was on Gaia, and it says...
did you get into that? I wasn't sure whether it was just bollocks or not, the whole Gaia thing.
I really liked it. There's some stuff in there that, I mean, it might be, it just didn't capture my attention.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, the the principles, the Hermetic principles, tie into a lot of the things that apply. So polarity is like, for instance, how would you know something's good if you don't have evil? How do you know something's light if you don't have dark? So if you have pure, brilliant light, you can't see it because you'd have nothing to contrast it against.
Absolutely.
So one of the Hermetic principles is polarity. So you need the opposite ends.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there was a painting that was done, and there was the crucifixion. So it was a painting of Jesus being crucified on the cross.
Yeah.
Right, and on the other side there was there was two crucifixions either end.
Yeah. And at the time there was because there's two fucking pals or whatever they were at.
One side was Lucifer, the fallen angel, the spirit angel, and the other side was Satan.
Oh, you're on about the painting?
Yeah, the painting.
Aye, sorry, aye.
So the idea was, what it was explained, one of the interpretations of this painting is that satanic worship or the Satan was all about materialism. Mm-hmm. So like selling your soul to the devil to get things in the material realm. And Lucifer is all about, none of that matters. It's about spiritual and getting back to the spiritual realms.
Yeah.
So the interpretation is that we, being like Jesus, he was the Son of God, and he's trying to balance between the two, between materialism and spiritualism.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to try and find. We need to try and find the balance and the harmony.
Yep.
And that explains one of the Hermetic principles. It's similar to the Hermetic principles, where we have this contrast.
Yeah.
And you inevitably, like anything else, you need to have, like, for instance, a knife doesn't cut itself, a light doesn't illuminate itself. It's just a wonder of itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So these things that we can't get our head around, and like Maddie McCann's one of them, you go, I don't know how you get there, but as somebody on that is closer to that side where that seems normal to them, I don't know.
I don't know if it would. I don't know if that would seem normal to fucking anybody, like, but
absolutely.
She didn't get pinched.
Nah.
Fact.
Do you not think so?
I don't think she got pinched. I don't think she got pinched.
No.
Like, what they did was fucking ridiculous, going for dinner and leaving their kids in the hotel room and all this shit.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. But there's no forced entry. There's no breaking in. There's no evidence for none of that shit. So someone's not broke in and pinched her. And if you pinched her, why would you pinch the twins too? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense, And then how do you explain all the blood?
What was the deal with the blood?
Well, they got the police dogs in and the cunts that can pick up the blood. The fucking wardrobe was full of blood. Blood next to where she was sleeping, blood on the floor, drag marks of blood in the back of the fucking Renault Megane. Ken, like, how do you explain all that? Oh, she cut her knee. What? With what? A fucking chainsaw, lad. You know what I mean? Like, Ken. And the Portuguese police and that, the guy who was investigating it, he's like, he literally says it was them. Yeah. I don't know why it's just being snubbed. Ken, how do you end up, so something happens to your daughter, whether you did it or not, and then the outcome is you're a multimillionaire? How the fuck do you navigate that? Do you know what I mean? Didn't work out for Shannon Matthews more. That went pear-shaped when she tried it. Ken,
it's madness.
So I think, again, I don't know if the mum did. Ken, I don't think you can fake that level of emotion.
Mm-hmm. It's grim.
But she may have known.
Well, it was like the guy. Remember, it was the guy and the guy and the woman. They set fire to the house, and it was like seven. There was like 7 kids. They had loads of kids. I don't know what the numbers were.
What are we on about now?
Well, you're talking about like imagine offing your kids.
Oh, sorry.
So
right.
In the UK, and there was like the I can't remember if I don't know what the deal was, but the guy it was the guy's kids, and I don't know if there was a distribution of some of them were this women's.
Where was this?
It was in like England.
Is it?
And the house was set on fire, and they said like it was somebody's petrol bombed the letterbox and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, the bairns die like?
I think like 5 out of the 7 of them died, or 7 out of the 9. I can't remember what the numbers were, but it turns out it was the parents, because they had the petrol that was used. They'd got the exact like chemical signature of the petrol, and it was found in the clothes. So they've got the petrol and they've done it.
Yeah, there'll be footage at a petrol garage and fucking getting the jerry can and all that too. You can't really hide for that shit now. It's kind of nothing about getting caught.
Madness.
I just didn't understand.
Like his parents, like, I mean,
could you imagine harming one of your own kids?
No.
Ken, no fucking danger.
There needs to be something missing. I don't know what that is, but there needs to be, like, we are maternal. We want to look after our kids.
The shit I would do.
I mean, you would go to the ends of the earth for your kid.
Oh, and
do anything.
I'd go medieval on people.
Yeah.
Like,
I
for
like
my kids. Wow.
like law-abiding citizen. This is
Ken,
Van Clausewitz shit.
Absolutely, mate. Big fucking Clyde
Sun
all the
Tzu,
way.
The Art of War.
I've never read it.
Short. It's easy
Is it?
read. Aye, really short. It's like just
It was
Proverbs.
a fucking book.
Aye, it's short. It's a short book.
Oh, is it?
I'd enjoy it. It's easy to read.
Oh,
But it's like
the translation will be
a short proverb about tactics. So the reading part is short but makes you think.
Okay.
So you go, right. So it's just strategies about how to get the upper hand and how to win. Think tactically to get the win.
I actually shared a thing the other day, and a guy was talking about that. He's like, I would wear your fucking skin, Ken. And
you would?
No, I shared a thing and I seen it. I'm like, absolutely. And he was going on about if someone ever tried to hurt his on his own. He's like, Ken, you need to understand the level of violence I would go to. And it was about the balance, kind of like you say, like the level of violence you're able to commit in order to be as gentle and as loving to your family as can. I can't remember the exact thing what he's saying, but I was like, yeah, you're on the point here, let it die. You're fucking on the money with that, like, absolutely.
Here's one that's came in, it looks good.
Tell me.
It's a bit lighter-hearted than the fucking deep, heinous holes that we've just came out of. DB Cooper, who the fuck was he and what did he steal? Do you know who DB Cooper is?
I watched the program on DB Cooper, and even at the end of it, I was like, I'm not getting this.
Right.
Like, I don't... Like, where the fuck is he? You can't just disappear anymore. Like, he's just gone. Was he actually a fucking person, or what is the crack?
Have you seen, like, the artist's impression of what it was?
What, is like what he looked like?
If you drew, like, a fucking anti-hero, like, the bad guy you would back, this would be it. Guy, suit, glasses,
I've seen that. Aye. He could be anybody. It's fucking Clark Kent.
He's Clark. Yes, Clark Kent. He's Clark Kent. He's just the sort of grey, nondescript, sort of masculine dude.
Thing is, all this type of shit like DB Cooper, the McCanns, fucking, we're never gonna know. We're never, ever, ever gonna find out any of this shit ever.
Yeah.
What's the crack with? Do you care any of the crack with McAfee?
John McAfee, yeah, I know about.
Aye, 'cause as far as I'm aware, he's still alive somewhere.
Oh, I didn't know that. Right, so McAfee, this is good because it leads into one of the other ones. So the other ones was, is the CIA the biggest drug dealer in the world? So McAfee...
Because he did the laptop thing.
John McAfee was the guy that had McAfee Security. And he...
is it McAfee or McPhee or I've always called it McAfee.
McAfee.
That's what I've called it.
So McAfee had an antivirus software, sold it for multiple millions, I think hundreds of millions of pounds or dollars. English dude, well-spoken, articulate, on the ball, liked his ladies, liked to drink, liked to party, liked to have a good time.
Good lad.
God bless his soul. What a guy. Living the life. So
a lad.
He's getting heat on a case the US government's coming after him. I don't like that one, but he liked to be left alone. Liked his guns, liked his weapons, and he was somewhere in Latin America, and the US government are putting pressure on him. So he decides to gift the fanciest laptops to the US, the people strategically in the US.
With all the malware on it.
He says within a week, I had the entire access to the US database and all the information within it. He says, so what I found out from there, because what he was intending to do was to find out if what the whole case against them was, because he couldn't understand it. They were coming after him for something that seemed ridiculous. So he thinks, well, I'll go and have a look. So he gets through the system, he has a look. He says, what I found scared the life out of me. He says, because what I figured out was that the CIA was the biggest drug runner in the world, that the Department for Human Trafficking was the biggest human trafficker in the world, the US government was the biggest arms dealer in the world, and essentially everything that was there was the opposite.
Who's the human trafficking thing, did you say?
The person that
is there a Department of Human Trafficking?
It's like the whoever was in charge of, like, whatever the department is, so whoever was the head of that department was essentially, right, and it fits back to, well, how do you, if you look at the UK, I think the UK has 150,000 children that go missing a year. Then you look at how ridiculous that is when they go, well, we want a COVID pass. Well, listen, you can't even find 150,000 kids that go missing a year. Annually, each year, 800,000 kids just seem to vanish. And then you've got, like, the sound of freedom that comes out, and you've got a guy who's been told by his boss, you can't pursue this. And this guy goes, well, I'm going rogue, I'll do it myself. And it's like, well, his department gets to the point where they go, look, we're going to pull you back a little bit. And he's that invested in getting these children back, that he goes after them himself, because he's like, I'm a dad, I've got kids, and he's got it, Mike. He's like this. He's like your guy. I will wear your skin.
Aye.
This is now. He's now in. He's invested. There's no way back. And McAfee was found information that matched that. So, who's in charge?
What happened to the guy?
Who, McAfee or
the investigator?
The guy was tasked. The department was, can't remember if it was the Department of Homeland Security.
But if he's went rogue on it, as he went missing,
they made the Sound of Freedom. Tim Ballard, I think his name is, and he was what the Sound of Freedom was based on, and he was, I can't remember, it was like US Marshal or whatever the department is, and they were tasked with dealing with it. Oh no, he's still going. Like, he's on social media.
No, I mean, did they find the kids?
He got the kids. So he's a boy. Like, I think the story goes, he rescued the brother, and the brother, he made a promise to the brother to get his sister, and he went, like, he was told, no, this is, you're not doing it. You need to wind it back in. And he's like, nah. And the Sound of Freedom tells the story where he went to.
Was this a book or a movie?
Movie.
Is it? I need to check that out.
Mm-hmm. That's big, and it's all about. He's saying, look, this is what we're up against. That there's this huge organised crime racket for trafficking, like, children around the world. And you look at things like, again, it's complete speculation, but you look at, like, the McCann situation. You look at Balenciaga. Yeah. You look at the kids missing in Haiti. You look at the number of children that go missing in the UK. You look at the talk about satanic paedophile rings and this sort of stuff, and you go, the old expression, there's no smoke without fire. It's like, well,
there's a lot of smoke.
That's a lot of smoke. And again, do we know concrete? Nah.
No, you're never going to know. Never.
There seems to be a lot of smoke and a lot of talk that there's no fire.
You heard the crack about McDonald's and human meat.
Human meat?
Mm-hmm.
Like cannibalism?
Not so much. Well, technically, I suppose, yeah. Allegedly, since 2015, they've been getting investigated by the FBI. 90% of their production sites contain human meat. Not just human meat, infant human meat, and 60% of them contain horse meat.
Wow.
I know. Mentioning that on TikTok Live got me closed off pretty rapid. Like,
does it?
Yeah. So there must be something in it, because they don't shut you down.
What did they do?
I just blocked anyone coming into my life immediately, almost instantly. I heard this. Someone watching the live was like, because I thought I would just be something in America, and they're like, nah, it's global, blah blah blah, and then
really,
yeah. And you can Google it, like, how do we Google and that? And I didn't look into it, but the minute you type it in, even on Google, it comes straight up.
Wow,
I know. But then it goes into this thing that, human meat could be a viable protein source for us. Billions of people die every year. We just bury them. Could you utilize this? There are companies currently, and you can buy human meat to eat off the interweb.
Man.
You know what I mean? But I've always thought that you can eat human meat because it makes you go fucking...
Well.
And that's how I was brought up. Cannibalism was bad. But now you've got this group of people that think cannibalism could be, to solve our farming issues and hunger issues. And then there's that company. Ken, that cunt that does MasterChef, the wee bald cunt with the glasses, Greg, what's his name? He's in this factory where they are physically growing human meat. And he's like, why don't you do this with animal meat? He's like, because we know our makeup properly and we can do this. And they basically take some human meat cells, do this thing with this, I'm assuming it's some kind of bacteria, and within 24 hours or 40 hours, whatever it is, they have this essentially fillet steak, kind of like the whole fillet before it's diced, of this pure meat grown. And the guy's like, would you feed this to your family? He's like, I have.
No way.
And that is in production globally now. You will have eaten this meat.
That's crazy.
I will have eaten this meat. Everybody watching this will probably have eaten this meat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and because this, like that Greg boy, he's in the hang and he's like, this is human meat. But it's not human meat like we've cut a steak off your fucking leg. They've taken our muscular tissue cells or whatever and grown a steak, bonkers, if you like. Man.
Bonkers.
It's one of these hangs I'm like, no danger, is this real? But that boy, Mr. Master Chef, he's physically in this factory and they're showing him the process, they're showing him how they grow it. In 2 days, this will look like this steak, and then they, bosh.
Did you try it?
Mate, we've probably fucking eaten it, lad.
Would you, like, if you, like, knowingly?
At this point now, the fact that I know it's out there, you know, like, I think, see if it came out officially that McDonald's are basically, it's not a Big Mac, it's a Big Bobby, or a Big Davy, or a Big Mikey, Ken. I think McDonald's would be quiet for a week. And then folk would be like, well, we've been eating it since the 80s anyway, fuck it, YOLO. I think McDonald's would be quiet for 5 minutes. And then people would be, fuck it.
Maybe that would be the play. You know, they want everybody in plant-based. Imagine that's the angle.
It makes you start questioning things though, Ken. Why is a KFC bucket of chicken called a family bucket? Because you're actually eating a family. You know what I mean? Look at it, lad. It's eye-opening, chap, huh? Because I kind of dismissed it, and then when I seen all that stuff with that hang when that Greg was in that factory, and I'm like, oh, it is a thing. Holy fuck. That's so crazy. Whether McDonald's are using actual people or they're growing the meat like this factory were doing, that remains to be seen. Mm-hmm. Because obviously if you're growing this meat, it will obviously register as, you know, human or infant or blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, I mean, here's the thing is that what do you do? I suppose when they've talked about lab-grown meat,
yeah,
like what type of meat are they growing?
Us, from what I've seen, it's our meat.
I tell you what, that's
which would globally immediately make us all cannibals.
Is that why everything tastes like chicken?
This is it.
I wonder, like, that was the thing when you look at cannibalism, like reports of like crash sites, and it's got to the stage where the only way to survive is to have a snack, to eat the people that didn't make it,
or the weak one,
or the weak one, and it apparently tastes like pork. We taste like pork.
Is it?
Aye.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, we can put pig bits in us, and it works reasonably
like a pig valve, like in your heart.
Pig fucking kidneys. Aye, it works for as far as I can tell.
Hey, we'll do one last one because I think that judging by this list, we're going to need to do. This is going to be a series if we're not shut off the entire internet.
That's it.
But we will find out.
Go on then.
We'll not be scared if we are. So we've got moon landing, 9/11, Stephen Avery, right?
I don't know Avery. I never watched
okay.
it. I know he was railroaded, but that's as far as I know.
The marginal line, so the blood descendant to Jesus.
That the Holy Grail banter and all that chat.
Similar, yeah, along that kind of theme. Atlantis and the Mercator maps, 6-foot lizard people.
What the fuck is a what?
So the maps are like the Perry Reese map's a famous one, and it shows that it was I think it was a Turkish cartographer that had mapped Antarctica.
Oh, is this like before the ice was on it, and you've got fucking trees and animals, and it depicts all that shit?
And he got that from all the old maps.
It's kind of like the 1533 that map was.
And he'd taken it from all the old maps.
Yeah,
and it's got a perfect shape of Antarctica. And you've got, we've not even spoke about Antarctica, and that's a big one in itself.
That is a big one.
But you've got these maps that show things like Atlantis on our maps, and now they're disappeared. And then you've got like Graham Hancock and Randall Carson do a really good job of.
They're brilliant.
They're really good. Really thought out, really articulate, really well researched. Way better than us. We're doing a terrible job.
We're fumbling through it, you know.
they've done their homework.
Aye.
They talk about the what's
Everything.
the cataclysm with the Great Flood.
Oh, the mud flood and all that shit.
The
Or you mean the more biblical?
no, it's like a
one?
flash flood around Younger Dryas. So the younger.
Oh, is this the one when you look at the maps from above and that, and you can see where the rivers flowed through, and now it's just fucking.
It's basically the end of the last ice age. There was.
Oh,
the
the
loads
meltwater
of the glaciers. The meltwaters were flash flooded because
Yeah,
of
yeah.
a meteor strike in Northern America.
Which heated up the fucking ice
Just
and
basically
melted it and so on and so
obliterated
forth.
the ice, and then that's caused the Great Flood. And that was around the same time as Göbekli Tepe, around the time that Plato's description of when Atlantis was here. So all this disappeared, and it was because...
You've got some of these maps as well that put Atlantis as a separate place from us. You know, these people that believe that the world is bigger than what we are aware.
Oh, yeah.
And Atlantis is on these maps outside of our ring, if you like.
Yeah. That blows my mind. That really does blow.
But this is the thing too, like, fuck it, let's just hit Antarctica. Right, Admiral Byrd first. Because,
we'll deviate for the
fuck
list.
it. So,
I'm fucking cracking this up because this is not going to be short.
like, for argument's sake, right, was it Admiral Byrd or was it the other boy? The boy
Admiral
that...
Byrd.
No, I know Admiral Byrd went, but who was the guy that flew 5,000 miles past Antarctica?
I don't know that one.
I think it was either Byrd or the guy who was underneath Byrd, and basically someone has logged the flight.
How the fuck did he fly 5,000 miles?
This is because it's there. The space is allegedly
no, what
there.
I mean is, when did they do it, and what plane had a range of 5,000 miles?
I never questioned that, actually.
Right.
I did not question that, because you would need the return point as well.
Aye, and I don't know of a plane, like, this is what I mean, is that
I don't know a plane
did they
today
do
that
this?
can do that.
And what you mean, you're talking about a hugely significant distance.
Yeah, it is a big distance. Pass.
Right,
I would need to go back into that.
So what's the we'll
Actually, I'm actually saying fly. It may have the term travelled. I
Right.
may have made up the flying part.
So where did he go on?
We'll need to come back to that bit. But anyway, if we circle back to the bird,
Right.
guy.
What was the guy that? What did he say that he went 5,000 miles past it? What did he see?
Just land, more and more land, multiple ice walls. Ken, and this flight or travel, whatever, there is apparently documentation to back this up. Ken, like your fucking.
Apart from what plane he was on.
Yeah. I've not looked fully into this. This is a thing, and I've seen it a multiple few times now to the point where I'm like, all right, this is actually maybe. I kind of like back in the day, like a naval captain would have the log, if you like. Apparently, it's logged. It's official. There's shit to back up this trip,
Right.
Ken, and
So that needs looked into further.
that needs looked into.
There's a few questions there.
There's many questions
Right.
there.
Which is good. It's healthy, right? Because if you're going to, the cool thing about doing something like this is we're not backing into a corner.
No,
We're talking about subjects that
we didn't make them up.
we didn't make them up. We're having a conversation about
That's
them,
it.
and we can argue both sides. I think that's
It's a healthy discussion.
very healthy way to do it. Now, the bird diary.
Yeah.
You know about that one? Tell me what you know.
So I know as far as Admiral Byrd, one of the youngest naval admirals in American Navy history, trusted man, explored more of the world at that point than anybody else. He's done the expedition to Antarctica in the early 50s, was it? Late 40s, early 50s? Anyway, he's went over. He's been like, this is the crack. We've found all these resources. There's a landmass the size of America on the other side of it, unseen by human eyes, so on and so forward. He's on the fucking news talking about it. You can watch the interview on the American news program of him describing exactly what he's seen. And then he's planning another expedition to go back. I believe it was 58, 59. He then mysteriously dies. The Antarctic Treaty's formed, NASA appears, the world's round, bosh. That's what I know. And there are people alive today that were taught in school under the British curriculum that the Earth was flat. I don't know, like I've said many times, I don't think it's flat, but I think there might be a little bit more than what we're told about. And you go back, like the map you were talking about, it wasn't a continent back in the day. It became a continent in 1962 or 63, or whenever NASA was formed. That's the first time we've seen this circle.
The one that
was a
somebody
continent.
said to me is like, why is it? Why have you looked at the NASA logo? Right, so he says, why is the NASA logo? I mean, this is what I mean. Is like, is it worth looking into? Or is it a case of you just looked at that? You know, you get someone that like looks at a cloud and they see a
man standing,
a fucking
taking a piss with a
Komodo
fishing
dragon,
rod.
and you look at it and you go,
It's a cloud, lad.
it's a cloud.
It's a collection of gas.
With this one, he says, why is NASA's logo a serpent's tongue and all it's missing is the S for Satan? And I thought, well, no, because Satan's not
I just
spelled
think
that
the
way.
timeline of the creation of NASA after the Antarctic Treaty and all this shit, I find it very convenient. So all that's missing is the snake.
The snake, and I don't know how you would spell Satan out of that. I mean, I'm not the world's greatest speller, but I don't think you spell... Well, you would need to get the countdown.
So because it's... Yeah, but I can also make Santa
Yeah.
out if you add a T in.
Yeah. Or you could have San.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones where I just think it's very...
You can make it, you're making it fit.
You can make it fit. You can make
fit.
it absolutely.
I'm not like I get where he's, you know, and this is the thing, and particularly if you know anybody that smokes weed, because they fell in big holes like this.
Oh, aye.
You know, they've got themselves in a tunnel
There's a
and jumped to conclusions.
Actually, Ken what?
And some of them are all right, and some of them are wild.
Aye, but lad, there's a boy the new documenting travelling outside the... So apparently somewhere there is a way through the alleged ice ring.
Or the firmament, or the ice
No,
wall,
the ice
right?
wall. And he's documenting... I can't remember on the map where he went to. It was somewhere off to this bit. I'd have to revisit it. And he's documenting the whole hang.
Right.
But the only thing that
Right, how's he got fucking 4G? How's he got 5G? How's he got signal?
question
Where's
one.
he getting data?
Secondly, he's apparently like, I'm here, but he's in a canoe. You've navigated.
Oh, is this the one where he's on the sea and it changes mysteriously, and he's went through and it's like the current's like one way in the shape of the seas, this, and he goes into different water.
No, but that you see that at the join of the Pacific and the Atlantic. You can see the two different tidal things. But no, this can't. So from the footage I've seen of the fishermen, because you've got some fishermen footage that say they can see a way through and all this type of crap. These are rough, icy, dangerous fucking waters. And this cunt's in what looks like a fishing kayak. So lad, you've just you know, I'm just going to
8,000 fucking miles out to sea in your canoe.
And you've just went in a fucking
Bluttered
plastic
through the
canoe.
ice wall.
I'm here. You know, I've seen the fishing boats that
I don't care about fucking Admiral Byrd's underling at 5,000 miles. I've topped that in a canoe.
Aye, that's it.
8,000 miles.
I'm in
Shite.
Asgard now, lad. Bollocks, mate.
I know he stopped off Asgard to get a fucking sausage roll because there's a Greg's in
There's a
Asgard
Greg's
now.
there.
Because there's a fucking Greg's in everywhere that you stop now.
This is it, mate. Greg's
Asgard,
and McDonald's.
Asgard are at the walls of Valhalla. Steak bakes. The fucking fallen warriors are mad into steak bakes.
Loves the steak bake.
Just can't beat a steak. So they've got. He says, look, you know, there's none of that McDonald's carry on. This is proper cow.
Well, let's see if
You're not
the
getting
guy-
any lab grown fucking human remains in here.
It's just real meat.
Legit.
Ken, like if the cunt is like I've travelled here and he was in a fucking 200-foot icebreaker fucking ship,
Yeah.
maybe. You're in a
Some
fishing
fucking-
kayak, lad.
Third Reich U-boat of extreme Bismarck level proportions,
Aye,
fueled
fucking
by a fucking
nuclear
propulsion
reactor,
system. Yeah.
Fucking Bosch. No, this cunt.
Fueled by a fucking death ray.
I'll see if I can find it later and I'll send you. It's the most... I am here. Are you, lad? I just need to hide my canoe.
Where do you get the fucking map?
Fuck
Like,
off,
is that
mate.
like, is it? Did you unlock Google Maps level 2.0? What did you do to get access
There are a lot
to
of these Raj maps out there, but like, you know, it's like, come on, ladder.
Like, but somebody's spent the time. What's interesting is somebody's took the time, Mikey, to fucking develop that map.
Multiple
like,
worlds.
Somebody's took a serious hit on a bong, right, and got right into this and thought they've been really good in the computer, and they've went, I know this. I know. And they next morning on fucking TikTok,
we've got
Mad Davey the joiner for Carnbro is like, I knew it. I
Asgard
was just waiting for this guy for the map. I'm sure I think I came back for a night out and I ended up in Asgard and I got a steak bake for there as well. Meanwhile, like Trevor,
I couldn't get back, but I seen an Anuki and he gave me a lift.
Trevor in the canoe is hoping to pull one of the Valkyries, but has went way the wrong way.
It's got lost. It's like, lad, you did not cross some of the most treacherous waters on the planet in a fucking kayak.
You look at, like, if you look at Shackleton, I don't know if you've heard.
I know the name.
So Ernest Shackleton had the failed Antarctic mission.
Oh, in the early
20th century. Yeah. So Irish explorer. It was him and I can't remember, it was David Scott. Anyway, him and I remember the guys, Captain Scott, and it was the race to the South Pole.
Yeah.
So there was Armiston, who was Norwegian. There was Captain Scott, it was the poster boy, and Shackleton, the underdog.
Yeah.
And he got this ship called the Endurance, and they got trapped in the Weddell Sea in the pack ice and crushed.
There's a fucking book on this, isn't there? Yeah.
So they get trapped in the pack ice. The ship sinks.
The ship not still kicking about?
Oh, they found the wreck. They found that it's in pristine condition.
Is it?
Because the water's that cold. It's like it's not getting disturbed. It's in 10,000 feet of water.
Fuck.
And it's immaculate.
Boom.
And if you read Shackleton's story, so if the Earth is round, right? If the Earth's a globe, right? There is no break in the Southern Ocean.
It's the
Southern Ocean just...
Well, Antarctica's an island on that
So
map.
you imagine, like, Antarctica's at the bottom. If we're going with the globe, he needs to cross in an open boat, essentially like something you'd never cross the sea in.
Yeah.
He goes to 800 miles across this and gets to, I think it's Elephant Island, and then he needs to get to another island. And they recount this, like this journey, and it is treacherous. You've got hardened sea guys, sailors that have taken part in these kind of exhibitions, excursions.
Well. Fuck.
Expeditions is the right word. There we go. Got it a third time lucky. So they've taken part in these sort of things, and these guys are destroyed. He lands on this part of the island, and there's a whaling station on the other side. But like he's got to this point, and they're like, "Look, we're going to try and we just want to get to land." So, anyways, they've had 50 feet of rope, and 3 of them make their way across this mountain and get over the other side to the whaling station. And they recount this journey that they'd taken. And they arrive there with modern mountaineering gear, and they go, "We have no idea how these 3 guys were able to pull this off. This is incredible what they've been able to do." But he's arrived there in 800 miles. You see, like, treacherous sea, a ghost of a man, Mikey. And it makes you think this guy who's like got through the fucking ice wall in a canoe.
Aye, South Pole. Fuck off.
No bother, mate.
That's not. Yeah,
Shackleton, one of the greatest tales of enduring and getting through it. And they said if you want, like, there's a famous quote. I'm doing it no justice, but it's like if you wanted an explorer, you would go for Captain Scott. If you wanted somebody to admire, you'd go for Armiston. And if it all went wrong, you'd want Shackleton, because he kept alive the spirit. And none of these guys died.
None of
them. And they went, because they dropped off the 21 guys were in the island, and it's like deserted island. There's like penguins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're frozen. And he's like, "Look, stay here. We'll go and get rescue." And they go away to get it. And it's, you remember, something like huge amounts of time because
back then it was though. We fucking weeks.
Well, they left in I think it was 1911 or 1912, and by the time they got back, World War One was kicked off. And they're like, "What do you mean the world's at war?" And that was what they had.
Just chilling eating penguins. Cool.
And they're like, "Fucking, can't it be as bad as this?"
Why do you think we're not allowed to go there?
What, Antarctica?
Yeah, we can't go.
They're definitely hiding something.
Yeah, what?
The thing with the Antarctic Treaty that gets me is the governments worldwide can't agree on anything, but they can agree on that.
207 countries are like, we can't go there.
So look, we're just going to sign up to this.
Even try and go now, it's 25 grand fine if they don't shoot you.
What's this?
25 grand fine if you try and go to Antarctica if you don't get shot.
Well, you can get tourist trips to Antarctica.
No, to one point, one designated area near fucking is it near Ushuaia or whatever? Like in the southern point of South America. It's quite close to there.
Ushuaia's the last, that's the southernmost southern point.
Yeah. And I think the place is, because I think you can see Antarctica from Ushuaia.
Oh, can you?
I think it's that close.
I don't think it was that close.
I'm sure. I might be talking pish, but I'm under the belief system.
I would side with talking pish on that one.
Probably.
If you need the world to be flat, wouldn't you? Because if you have the curvature of the Earth, you shouldn't be able to see that.
But this is where we go into the whole, how can you see Chicago across Lake Michigan and so on and so forward? Yeah. Shouldn't be able to. Yeah. If the measurements are right,
Say bend the eyes.
That's that. Oh, it's light refraction. Is that eye sound?
Aye.
Cool. Okay.
But I think that there's something there. I think that it'll be along the lines of they think that it's a risk.
There's definitely a military base there. 100%.
There's a military base. Bird's. You need to check out Admiral Byrd's diary because Admiral Byrd was apparently on a flight. He'd flew out, and they were again tracking and logging all the sort of setup.
Is this the thing that involves the cave that he flies into and all that shit?
They take
Crystal
him.
City and all that
it's a crystal city.
I have,
all the vegetation.
Yeah, inside.
Not human.
Yeah,
are interacting with them, and they are like. Have you heard of the Galactic Federation?
See, either this guy is off his nut, just starting to lose his shit as he got to his older years, and he's just imagining shit, or there's some truth behind it. It just seems very particular that he's done this shit, and then we can't go there. Absolutely not. Now, whether if he has found these people, and they're like, get yourself to fuck.
No, he didn't say that. What he said is we want you to take back information to your leaders. They were really concerned about it. Was after they detonated the nuclear bomb, and he says, look, we want you to you need to stop this. You need to wind your neck in. And apparently if you go down the whole alien route, the Galactic Federation are the alien species those in the know that are the humans that are connected to them, or hybrid humans. They are the diplomatic sort of connection between the bridge. They're the bridge that we have correspondence with them so that we can find a happy medium between.
There's a podcaster, a guy who says that's what he did for the Americans, if you like. He would not so much a bodyguard, but a bodyguard basically, and he would facilitate, like, and if this guy needed to go to this point, he would be the guy that would go with him, and
what the fuck's he going to do? Like, a bodyguard versus like
fucking phasers and fucking laser weapons and
sitting there, some guy that's came 28,000 light years through a Rosenberg bridge, bent gravity, and there's a force field around a disc,
and he's standing there with a Glock, and
you're like, nice pea shooter.
Are we to fuck, son?
It's like somebody playing with the aliens dude's probably looking at him like you see the kid with the racket and the ball, like nice pea shooter, and you still use the chemicals to fire your wee metal bit out. That's good. That's nice. These chips are getting good. That's quite good. And a bodyguard, like talk about a position that you hold that you really probably don't. There's no place for you there. You're just like the fill-in.
You're just making up numbers here, lad.
What would the training be like if you were like the bodyguard? Like, fucking, is it going to be that scene at Men in Black? You know, hey, you're going to shoot why did you shoot the girl?
Yeah,
Well, because she had books in quantum physics. You know,
it's
and
fucking
it's
six.
11 o'clock at night. You know, and you didn't shoot the
This
fucking
guy's-
alien hanging
this
from the
guy's
lamppost.
He's doing pull-ups. He's working
He's
out.
working out.
It's fucking...
What do you think about Antarctica?
Don't know. Kind of... Like, I don't...
Looks like there's shapes of pyramids on there.
I've seen the photos. I've seen the footage and shit like that. Aye, there's definitely ruins. There's definitely been something at some point. I think there's a couple of obelisk things. Is that what they're called? The pointy, long, tall fucking things.
Monoliths. I think they could be called obelisks.
No, kind of like at the mall in Washington DC. You've got the big pointy.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's an obelisk. I'm sure that's the name for it. There's a
Could
couple
be.
of them, like you say, the pyramid banter and that. There's definitely at some point was a village or town or something. Because it's just like kind of if you go up the Scottish Highlands, you find the ruins. There was something there. I think the photos are from like 1902 or 1908 or something like that. So they're not the greatest photos, but you can fucking make out what the crack is. Yeah. But I don't know why. Like we can literally go anywhere. I mean, obviously we can't really go to North Korea, but within reason, we can go anywhere on the planet.
Well, you could fucking go to North Korea. You look at Dennis Rodman. They'd probably be like, "Oh, Dennis is back."
I'm all right, yeah.
You don't fancy it?
I don't want to know.
No.
I'll maybe go to the fucking what is it? The
what if they can sort you a fucking ticket to Antarctica?
I'm all right, mate.
Would you go?
If I could go and say, so, like, I would love to know, like, Ken, if you could, so see, like, at some point in my life when my kids are sound and everything's hunky dory, and they're like, we will let you know everything, but you can never go back. Okay, I would like to know. But I'd like to know everybody was good first before I fucking vanish, just to find out. Because there's so many unanswered questions that does my tits in. Like, why not? Why can't I? Ken, just tell me. Like, even if I knew the truth, who's going to fucking believe me? You know, just tell me. Who am I? I'm no fucking danger cunt. I draw pictures for a living. I've not got any swing on nothing on the fucking planet. Ken, tell me. Why can't we do this? What's the crack with that? Ken, where did this guy go? Ken, what's the story? And it'd just be amazing to find out what the crack is.
But what would you do with it?
Nothing. I would just like to know. There's nothing I could do with it. You know, what you're going to do with that information? No one's going to believe you for a start. Nobody. They don't even, like stuff, like you were saying earlier, you know, you can physically tell somebody what the truth is, and they're like, nah. Ken, so, but for yourself, I would just like to fucking know. Why can't I go here? Because X, Y, and Z.
Would you go to Mars? Like everybody's set up. It's a one-way trip. That sounds shite to me.
What, go to Mars?
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to go to be the guy first foot on the ground and have to do the whole terraforming, starting civilization shit.
I watched Total Recall with Arnie.
It doesn't look great,
I've never watched Recall. This place looks really good. It looked pretty.
It looked rough as fuck. It was toast.
Like, how shite does Earth need to be that you want to go there?
Aye, fucking. It'd be interesting. Like, if interplanet travel ever becomes a thing, then sweet, king, cool. But I'd like to go once it was established. I don't want to.
Do you need a Greg's?
Well,
I'll go when there's a Greg's.
I don't want to be the guy that has to deal with the teething issues, because you're the guy that's dying.
Yeah.
The first one over the wall always dies. Yeah.
What if they say, look, you need to go to Mars and then we'll tell you all the shit, but you're going to die there?
Well, at this point, if everyone's cushy, sound. Ken, if I'm fucking in my 50s, I'm maybe the size of me, I've maybe only got a couple of years left anyway before my heart gives out.
Yeah.
Fucking, my kids are sound, you know. Aye, cool, let me know.
What if they come to you? What if they be like, Mikey, the reason that you're the odd one out is you're one of us, and you find out that you're a fucking hybrid alien, that's why you're good at drawing.
Mint.
And they're like, you know, this is why.
We'll let you know.
This is why you've no fit in.
Aye, sound. Dear man.
Because your dad's from fucking Zeta Reticuli, really?
Boss. Because that would be even better. They would tell me, and I know I wasn't getting fucking whacked afterwards.
Right.
Because I'm one of the fucking purebloods or whatever they want to call it. Okay, one of the sideway blinkers.
Right. What about JFK?
Well, we know why JFK was killed. They tried to fucking, you know, do his own bank in America, and they weren't happy with it. And then poor Lee Harvey got fucking stitched up.
Big time. CIA.
Big time.
CIA off them, big time.
Ken, JFK, Gaddafi, fucking, you know, there's a long list of people that try to do that, and they all went bye-byes. That's why if Mr. South America's at it, he'll be the next one too.
I would be interested to see how long he lasts.
He's not, if he's going to try and remove the country from central bank, he's not going to be long.
That is anybody. If there's one thing that will get you, like if Hillary Clinton being an employee is your, highest probability of death, the one that's above that is let me create a new currency.
Yeah. Like why? Like I don't. But why? Like you know what's going to happen. Why is he even trying it? You're going to die. You are going to die. Plain and simple. You're going missing. Nobody gets away with doing that until the whole system collapses. You're not allowed to do that. Mm-hmm. And the only way you'll get around it when the system collapses is because someone will have to put something in place. Mm-hmm. But until it goes pop, you're going missing. Mm-hmm. Don't do that.
If an alien comes here, what's your first reaction? If an alien approaches you, you get on your phone out. Right, so you're driving home tonight. You get to Hart Hill because everything dodgy happens in Hart Hill. Everything changes when you cross
that line.
Right, there's a line in Hart Hill. Anybody that's been on the M8 knows this is the fucking centre point of weird stuff. Aye. If you've ever, you can literally go. You can be in one side of this place and it is a snowstorm. And you can drive 500 metres and then it's like there's not been any snow in a year.
Mate, I've had that before. Ken, the overpass.
I know, yeah.
I've been driving through torrential rain, went under.
Stop.
Fuck all.
And nothing. Only people like that's
no evidence of rain on the road either.
Outlandish, unless you've been through Hart Hill.
Yeah.
Unless you've drove through that bit of the M8 motorway.
It's fucking... But not
everybody in the central belt who's got a car knows what we're talking about.
So... If you're like, an obvious alien.
Yeah.
Not like someone that looks like us, just blinks funny. Like an obvious 7 foot tall.
Well, like Mark Zuckerberg at the interviews, with the sort of rather reptilian sort of facial image and eyes sort of look really quite weird. And you think, what are we talking about? Are we talking Men in Black? Independence Day alien? Are we talking Alien versus Predator? Are we talking just the standard
because
grey?
I think my reaction would be dependent on what the alien was.
Like, well, give me your range.
Well, like, kind of if it was Mars attacks, with a fucking glass, I'd be like, what the utter fuck?
Right.
And there would be no getting out the car. I would probably try and get fucking home as fast as I could. Where I would try and take my family, I don't know. But I wouldn't be hanging about. I wouldn't be in that initial vicinity.
Right.
Whereas if it was some kind of closer to us, I think it would be easier to accept or engage. But if they were 7 foot, 9 foot tall, big black fucking eyes, space radar shaped head, I'm not hanging about to find out what the fuck's going on. Well, like Paul.
Aye, like Paul the alien.
Like you see all these fucking things in, kind of like you'll be on, like, for argument's sake, like fucking like a King Kong type movie with Jack Black, and they're like, oh, and the thing like tries to bite your fucking head off and that. I think I'd be more cautious of a wee one than a big one. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's cute. He's gonna tear your head off at the neck, lad.
No, he's going to finger you. It's like, he's like, I've picked up a few you. And you go, he's an abnormally long index finger.
Like salad fingers.
With a fucking scoop on the end of it and one of the inspection lights.
It's like a fibre optic.
I can't remember what they're called again. Like it's got scope and an oscilloscope or whatever it is.
Yeah, an endoscope.
An endoscope, that's it. Yeah. He's got one fucking built in. Oh, no. Like the British gas advert that flicked up and the flame. Well, he's got one, but it's designed for rectal examinations of the humanoids.
I think if you came face to face with an alien, or even if someone was like, I think you would have a overwhelming sense of panic. There would be no, deadly. What's the crack? Do you have trees there? I think you would just shite yourself. Fact. Because first off, the realization that they are a thing, first off, you'd be like, okay, and then, like, there's no good outcome in any movie other than Paul.
Paul was a good one.
Okay, and every other alien coming to the planet thing, it's not great. It doesn't end well for us. So I'm gonna go with the majority and just be like, see you the new pal.
Yeah.
I'm not even stopping. Kind of like an alien standing at the side of the M8 at Hart Hill with like that guy, like, are we real? Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not even stopping like that.
Right.
Draw. Fuck that. There's no good outcome, I don't think.
Yeah, I would be, that sort of.
You're not taking
when they call it, like, you're not getting your fucking iPhone out, that's for sure.
No danger.
My priority list, my thought process doesn't have get your iPhone and take a picture of it.
No. Selfie.
Yeah.
No.
Can I get a selfie for Instagram? No. This will be good. I can't wait to stick you in my story.
I'm instantly going into fight or flight mode, and I'm aware that.
Do you know that paralysis, like when you have a bad dream and you wake up and you're frozen?
I have never had sleep paralysis.
Right.
Ever.
That's exactly what I imagine I would be like.
You would just shite yourself.
Just fucking planted to the ground.
100%.
I would be ripe for a fingering. I would be ripe. Because I wouldn't move. I wouldn't fucking move. I couldn't move. I'd be like, just, I've got so many questions. What do I do? Should I run? Why is my legs not working? Where the fuck's my iPhone?
I'm pretty confident I could not outrun an alien.
And,
you know what I mean? I can't outrun most humans.
Well, like they just freeze you. They'd be like, yeah, no, you're here. You're like, we're going to
stop. Like Professor X banter.
And they're not even talking to you. Fucking planting stuff in your brain. Now you know, game's up.
Aye, fucked.
Like
why me?
Your running rights and choices have been revoked.
No, that's it.
We have the control pad, and Mikey, you have been paused. Live. You know, like you can pause like this. You can pause. Remember, you can pause live TV.
Yeah,
we didn't do that with you. Just pause.
Done. Stop.
And what do you think next? I'm getting fucking fingered.
Aye.
This, whatever he's got, or
again,
whatever your thingy is, exoskeleton. I am definitely. There's a high probability of a poking here.
There's kind of like no smoke without fire. There are far too many alien and anal probe stories for there not to be some truth in this.
What is in our ass?
Don't know.
What are they getting? What do they know?
I don't get why that became a thing. Oh, they're going to anal probe you. Yeah. Why would they do that?
They're either really kinky for bum, or there's something in there we don't know.
Maybe just want to know what our diet's like. Just run a stool that day.
Maybe that's their idea. Like we drop off a package. You don't need to it's not you don't require invasive looks. We can drop you off a sample. We can
literally we do it the doctors all the time, mate. I wonder if they've just been like they've assessed the human race, and the last thing they've looked at is how dogs get to know each other, and they've just took it a step further. Like, oh, we need to know about the human race. Well, I've seen this hanging. They just have a wee. So we'll imply that.
I remember walking the dogs out in the park, and I was watching them like sniffing back. It's must like this is the thing. Let's just sniff arseholes.
Just get a flavour for it. I
wondered if that was going to happen after like after they went back to normal lockdown. I'm like, are we just going to start sniffing people? Like, this is new smells. Like, is this what is this represent what we're going to be like? Because I
don't get what the dogs gain from that. Like, I wonder if he's on WAG or as the heroes.
Right.
Because surely that's all a dog's finding out.
Don't know.
You Ken, what are you learning from a fucking arsehole? You know what I mean? Ken? I now know his full personality. No, you don't, mate. You don't.
We need that. Could be exactly what we asked the alien, right? Because I reckon I'm not needing to go through Hart Hill. You're fucked.
I have to go.
You need to go through Hart Hill. I would suggest taking an alternative route, right? Because I reckon the Galactic Federation have YouTube.
Even if I take the back road, mate, you pass through official Hart Hill.
We've notified them. Our little light is on, right? The apparatus that we can't see. We've stuck your light on. You know when a taxi's saying, "Look, I'm good for a fare." Your wee boop has went on, and they
stop at the co-op and get some tinfoil for the drive home.
I reckon the Galactic Federation have got their dudes. Like, what's the biggest guy you fingered? We've got one. His lights just went on. You want to take a look? You're in.
I'm not.
You're in.
There's some bigger guys than me, mate. I'll be like, whoa. Have you seen this guy?
Somebody's wanting a big catch. Like they've not got. You know, you can catch a catfish, and these guys go into the river and they get a catfish with their hand. Like, I reckon that's the game. Like, we think that there's more to it. They're just they're just redneck version of catching something, and they're like, we're going to take the sports model. I remember Lazard done the whole back engineer. Go and take that out, get a blast. Here's a big one for you. Go and catch him. He's going through Hart Hill. It's a place. Go on. And this is like, this is why the rain and all that gets distorted, because somewhere within the vicinity of the M8 flyover going over Shots in Hart Hill.
There's a guy.
Somebody's
There's
getting
an alien trying to catfish.
somebody's trying to
fucking
catfish one of the Homo sapiens with the asshole.
To run tests on his fucking shite pipe.
I'd come back with a sample. Like, did you get? And that's just the proof.
Aye.
we got one.
What have you learned? They had a fillet steak with the great.
Yep, and it was all cow. The whole lot of it. That's unusual to see these days. This time.
They seem to be consuming themselves.
So I reckon that you're in for it.
I'd like to hope not. I had plans tonight that didn't involve an alien invasion
Well, I reckon
internally.
if they've got YouTube, they've listened to your previous episodes, and I reckon that they think you're probably up for it with some of the things. That,
None of the fucking stories have been about me.
no, I know, but they probably I don't know if they have
There'll be
that.
a communication breakdown now.
They probably went, nah, he looks good.
He'll do.
He sounds up for it.
He'll do.
Like he sounds up for
He's
he's up for
game.
a good laugh. Like
That's
I think he gives a good review.
He says there's nothing off the table. He'll do anything. Sound.
So have you got anyone's that hit you up with any conspiracy theories?
A few folk mailed, and it was the general kind of same consensus, you know, HARP, Antarctica, fucking, I can't even log on because of the internet in here. The fuck was it? I can't even remember now. But there was a couple of fucking lists, but it was all kind of the general same sort of, you know, kind of the more modern conspiracy theories as opposed to the moonland and all that type of chat.
Well, I reckon I don't think that if we're not completely wiped off the face of the censorship of YouTube and everything else in social media,
We'll find out.
we will find out soon enough. And I've detonated everything that we've put in
The good thing, in all
for the
fairness,
conspiracy theory.
the good thing is if it does get deleted, you're on a track somewhere.
Yes.
Because the shit that floats around the interweb that isn't deleted, do you know?
Yeah.
Shit that goes missing. It's very hard to delete things off the interweb.
Is it?
Very hard. Well, through COVID, they had a whole department of the fucking MOD that was solely to remove things from the interweb.
77th Brigade.
Yeah, there you go. Ken, solely their sole job was to remove people that were getting close off the interweb.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of money, and it's not easy to do.
What conflict would you have? Like, say you're a good, upstanding sort of citizen, subject to the kingdom, and you decide that you want to serve king and country, and you want to go into this wholesome environment, and then this is your role.
What you end up doing.
That must be a conflict.
Aye.
Like, there must be bits of them going, I'm not really sure I'm on the right side of this.
You've no choice, though. You've signed a contract, you've made an oath, and you need to just do what you fucking
Like,
tell at that point.
I guess that must be hard. Like, it must be a hard sort of deal.
Well, you look at any of the industries, like even like base point with the NHS, you had people made to do certain things who did not agree and did not do it themselves.
Yeah.
Can I've tattooed folk that were getting paid a fortune to distribute the vaccines, would not take one. But they can do, well, this is your job now. That's what you're doing. And ultimately, they've got bills to pay, kids to look after, shit to do. So
it goes back to what we started with. You are so
you're a key player in the system, yeah, absolutely.
It's
part of the machine.
It's part of the machinery.
That's
part of the setup.
People, this is the thing, like regardless as to people's views or what they believe or this, that and the next thing, when you've got mouths to feed, doesn't fucking matter, you know what I mean? You need to play the game.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Well, I think it's a good place to finish up on potential fingering in Hart Hill. I don't know about you, but I like that. If we've went round the doors, I think we've covered off a good bit. So
boxes have been ticked, mate.
And I reckon that if there'll be more for this, if we don't end up in the 77th Brigade spectrum, if you're out there, shout out to the guys that are doing the work. Leave our stuff.
Oh, you're fucking dead.
Aye. So listen, we're hooked up with the Greys. So you come near our stuff, they're coming for you, and we'll be hanging about Hart Hill.
That's it.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Conversations with an Investor. We put out the poll. We said we'd do it, and I think we've covered everything that you wanted in there. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any more, and I'm sure you have, if you liked that we went into the deep rabbit holes of two knuckle draggers just letting off some steam and just going wherever it went. Hit us up if you've got any more questions. We're on social media. You have Big Mikey's page, Big Mike OST. We'll leave that in the show notes. You can hit me up at Conversations with an Investor. We're on all the usual social platforms. And if you want to hear more about the community that I'm building, you can visit geomcnee.com. And I'm sure this will be part one if we don't end up on a database somewhere or breaching every community guideline that had ever been created. I think the only one that we'd leave out is fat shaming and snowflakes, which I think I'd done a good job of earlier on, if you'd seen my Instagram story. So from us this week, that is a wrap.